cross lake and ends. I can hear myself clearly through your phone. I have my phone muted. Yeah, I can hear you fine. I am the voice of God. Be not afraid. I can hear you just fine. Hello, my name is Cross Lake. I'm currently off of my TV. Here we go. All right. God damn it, I'm gonna need another invite. Why did we disconnect from this? Disconnected me again. Pretty good. I just need another invite. I'll join up in a little quick. I'll see you in a bit. Yep. See. Connect. Device not found. That's not good. One more. Reader. Joining. Okay.
Hello and welcome to Small School Saturday. We are live from Arden Hills, Minnesota. We've got one of the best matchups in all of college football, let alone Division III football today. The Bethel Royals playing host to the Johnnies from St. John's, fellas. Let's kick this thing off. Start with an introduction of the crew. If our tents make it through today without any of them going down, it will be nothing short of a miracle. The great windy plains of the Arden Hills, St. Paul area, starting at the left side of the desk, my left, your right, a man who shares my name but not my face, Cade Manzo, joining us today.
Hey, I'm absolutely stoked to be here, guys. Just another incredible opportunity for this program.
Is your hair going to be that incredible throughout the entire duration of today's show?
I got no gel in. I'm just going straight natural, so we'll see how she flows.
Between Cade and myself, inside of the Manzo sandwich, he's running a full marathon tomorrow.
Come on,
but we're
kid.
very fortunate that he's joining us today. Seth Howard is back at the desk.
All I know is in 24 hours, my legs are going to be absolutely on fire, but so happy to be back at Bethel. This is actually my second time here. Played here all the way back in 2019.
How'd the first go-around go?
Not good. Okay. Bethel just absolutely destroyed us, like they might do to St. John's today. We'll see, but thanks to Bethel for having us out. So excited to be back here.
Absolutely.
I am your host, of course, Kobe Manzo, and a big thank you to the wonderful people of Bethel, the university, and the institution as a whole for helping us to finance this trip, to get us out here to this great location. And that is the best part about all of this, right, is seeing these places in person. You have these conversations with people over Zoom, talking into a camera very much in a similar fashion as I'm doing right now. And tell you something, that gets old very fast, very, very old. So to be here, to be at this site and ready for this game and to interact with the people we've already had, the hospitality has been fantastic. I'm excited to get the show going. Finally, of course, Jimmy Martin. Get those sunglasses off for us. Let's see your eyes, buddy. There we go.
Hey,
there we
thanks.
go.
Yeah, it's nice to be here, guys. What a blessing. Absolute blessing to be here.
Nice.
Let's get kicked off. Let's get it kicked off.
Microphone etiquette 101 with Jim Martin over there. Okay. But that is our crew for today's show. St. John's and Bethel. We've got a 1 o'clock Central kick. But, fellas, before then, there are a lot of big-time events coming on the show. So if we cut to and check out the rundown of today's show, all the different events, as we get a wonderful view of Royal Stadium here in Arden Hills.
Baby.
We're kicking things off right now. Bethel and St. John's, the matchup history, what has become the game inside of the MIAC here. And you see it right here, topping off the first hour, capping it off, the best part potentially. St. John's head coach joining us live at 11 o'clock. But before then, fellas, we're going to preview some of the best matchups in Division II football across the country, closing off with Division II's oldest rivalry, the Black Hills Brawl, taking place today. The South Dakota Mines and Black Hills State rivalry got actually featured on College Game Day, the grandfather of game day shows, so to speak, earlier today. We'll talk about it as well, give our pitch, probably give them more time than they got on the ESPN program, I would
let's hope
say.
so.
And then as we move forward, we've got a whole segment dedicated to the signal callers of today's matchup, the quarterbacks from both sides, Bethel and St. John's. Finally, D3 matchup previews across the country. Of course, we'll talk ad nauseum about this Bethel and St. John squads. And finally, the under-the-radar D3 game that I think all of you guys need to know about. This is one that I did a little bit of digging on throughout the course of the week. We've got I don't know exactly. The analogy is the unstoppable force versus immovable object. Whatever the opposite of that is, that's that game. As we take a look forward into the second hour, though, we've got a lot more great segments planned for you in terms of today's show before getting into the matchup history here of Bethel and St. John's. That second hour headlined by an interview with the head coach of the Royals. Coach McElroy will join us here later on in the second hour, right at 11:30 actually, to start things off. We've got members of the AFCA Good Works team from All-State, fellas. That is an award given out or a nomination given out for those who make big contributions in their communities. We've got guys on both teams that are members of that for this particular matchup. Awesome. We're going to highlight both of those fine young men. And as we continue into the second hour, we've got the NAI matchup previews from across the country. Potentially the toughest NAI schedule to date that I've seen. Montana Tech, the Ore Diggers, have had an absolute gauntlet through their first 5 games. We close things out with the difference makers, some potential upsets. Gavin's fun fact. He brings us another incredibly electric piece later on in the show. And, of course, that isn't the end of the show because there's still a few big parts missing. And as we look forward to the last little bit of the show after Gavin enlightens us with some great information, of course, you have to talk about the game picks. And so we'll get to those. But, boys, really excited for how this is shaking out. Let's take a look at the last little segment of our show rundown today. Of course, we have the game picks coming on as of late. The Bethel football team, as I've been told, will be making the trek out to the field directly behind us for our setup today, which is going to be nothing short of incredible. But here is the last slate of today's programming. At 12:10, we're taking a look at the spreads. We're taking a look at the numbers. We've got our line breaker picks of the day. Of course, we'll get into our game pick selections, wrap up this show at 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern for a kickoff time of 1 o'clock. Johnny's and Royals, boys.
Baby.
So that is the entire rundown of the show. A lot of great segments and other things planned in the meantime. But one of you take it. I need to get a drink. That was a lot of talking.
Well, first of all, this matchup is, like you said, the game in the MIAC. There's a lot that goes into this game as far as playoff contention, as far as who's going to host, who's going to be on the road. So it's not just one of those games where, hey, both these teams are probably going to end up making the playoffs. No, I mean, there's a lot riding on this game. This is a pride game. Both of these teams, I can tell, do not like each other very much, so we'll see a lot of that today.
They might not like each other, but they do have respect for each
No
other, which
question
I
about
kind of picked up on with the interviews. And also, just to kind of add on to that, some personal storylines as well, gentlemen, that we're going to keep an eye on here in this Bethel St. John's showdown.
And as we kick things off, number 4 coming to number 12 today, the Johnnies. They got the last laugh last year in the MIAC championship. They were a win away from taking on Bethel again in the playoffs, or what would have been a ridiculous 3 times in the same season, boys. And that is one that you just don't see at all in college football, right? Genuinely do not see a whole lot of that. But that is one that we didn't get to see. And that matchup feels like it has been postponed to this wonderful day of October 4th. This year, the Johnnies have the top scoring offense and defense in all of Division III football. Gentlemen, it is an incredible group coming into town today. Let's hear what they have to say about today's matchup on the road as we check in with some of the Johnnies from St. John's. Flip over the video to the actual video of the Johnnies as you bear with us here. Trust me, though, it is going to be a good one. You are going to hear some good stuff from these Johnnies. Had a chance to catch up with some of the players throughout the course of the week. So now we will switch over and hear from some of the Johnnies from St. John's.
I think we have a lot of guys that have something to prove this year. We don't lose people, we just reload.
We definitely play relentless, fast, physical.
In terms of our defense, kind of the sky's the limit.
We do not give in, and we don't care what the score is. We're going to go out there and try and score no matter what.
Johnny football travels. We honestly think of it as almost like a home game on our side of the world too.
The Johnnies are an incredibly confident group, and they have every right to be. But on the other side of things, Coach McElroy has this program in his second year cemented in the conversation on the national stage. They have every right to be just as confident coming into this matchup. The trials and tribulations that this team has faced in the last 12 to 24 months are one that a lot of teams maybe would not have recovered from. With a quarterback in Cooper Drews that is among the best in the country under center, we'll talk about him, the turncoat, the former Johnny, transfers over to the dark side. We'll hear from him more later. The Royals, though, they believe it's all the intangibles that will be the difference makers for them today in a big-time game for St. John's. Let's check in with the Royals. Potentially. Yep.
We're just going to outwork you. We're the hardest working team in the country. And so I think that'll stand out for us 100%.
People are going to be throwing haymakers while we're in there, and eventually somebody's going to throw the last one, and just do your best to be the last one to throw it.
We play for each other. You can see it on the field. We play with a lot of joy. Obviously, it's one that you circle on the calendar, right? Week 4, St. John's.
I mean, I think when you look at the landscape of the MIAC, it always kind of comes down to St. John's and Bethel.
You see some clips from that Bethel defense. They're going to have their hands full today. But the other side of the ball, fellas, the Johnnies, they have not allowed a point through 3 games. That streak, you'd have to imagine that comes to an end today.
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
You would think, right?
No, what's what I find interesting is the over-under for this game is 64 points. I just don't see how 64 points get scored today with both of these defenses.
That doesn't happen by accident either. Like, it is it's extremely hard to keep people out of the end zone, especially even in blowout games. Like,
Correct.
you know what I mean? So that's not by accident with this Johnny's defense either.
Yeah, there's depth on this Johnny's team too, right? Because you imagine in games like, you go back Augsburg, some of these most recent games where they have been pretty blowout performances. These starters are not in for the entire duration of the game. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that some of these guys that we've interviewed are in there for every snap from quarter 1 through 4. But what I can tell you is that the guys that back them up, the drop-off is not that big of a drop-off. You go from 1A to 1B on this Johnny defense. The depth of that side of the ball is something they have certainly prided themselves on throughout the course of this season. Bethel, though, they had 2 cracks at the Johnnies a year ago. Neither of them successful. Both walked away with L's in those in the regular season and the MIAC championship game. What do the Royals have to do to change the outcome for today?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I mean, they're going to have to score, right? That's the most important thing. I mean, let's go get in the end zone the first drive. That's what I think they're going to be saying in that locker room because, you know, this team hasn't been scored on yet. I mean, what happens when you go out there and deliver a gut punch? Let's see what happens, right? Let's deliver the first punch. Let's go in that end zone at least, you know, or let's get in the end zone that first drive, get some momentum going here, and, you know, see what happens from there.
Obviously easier said than done against the defense with the caliber of this St. John squad, but in an event like this, you have your home stadium. Is this something where, we'll go to Coach Seth here with this one. Is this something where you pull a cat out of the hat, a rabbit out of the hat, and kind of pull maybe some trickery to try and see if you can't get something to shake early?
Absolutely. In a game like this today, in all honesty, probably the one big game you're going to have to get up for a year. No offense to the rest of the league, but in all honesty, like any stops that you have to pull out, this is the one to do it.
Yeah,
you're not going to wait for, no disrespect, Gustavus or Carlton to pull out some of these stuff. You're going to give it everything you have for this one game today, fellas.
Yeah, 100%. We certainly will see all the bullets in the gun, so to speak, as we get things going. But offensively, from the quarterback mind, I mean, we've had a chance to talk about Cooper Drew, a little bit there, and he's been a guy that has been really fun to watch, right? This Bethel offense, it starts and ends with him. The offensive backfield, he's got weapons around him. That offensive line unit we'll talk about. What have you seen from Cooper?
No, I think he's really poised in the pocket. I think he does a lot of great things. He can throw, he can run. He's definitely a playmaker, undoubtedly. Pretty smart with the football, too. Obviously, he's super disciplined in that matter as well.
Absolutely. Now, though, we'll take our attention over to the Division II landscape, preview some of the top D2 games in all of the country today, fellas. And we're going to start things off, which I think this is undoubtedly the best contest in all of Division II football today. UTPB at Angelo State, number 7 at number 6. This is a Lone Star Conference matchup that we really have not seen the likes of, I think, in quite some time. A top 10 game taking place down in Texas. UTPB coming into this one, they were unranked to start the year. This is a squad that has kind of defied a lot of expectations. Coach McCullough, friend of the show we've had on this program, really love what he's doing with this squad. But Seth, talk to me about the Rams on the other side of the ball in this matchup.
So the Los Angeles Rams, as the non-D2 guy up here, I thought I was looking at the Los Angeles Rams the first time I saw him. But Angelo State, they come into this game as a 7.5-point favorite, and rightfully so. They've been dominant in absolutely every game they've played so far. Haven't necessarily played a ton of talented teams up to this point, but you get the 2 best defenses so far in the Lone Star Conference, and for the Rams, it's headlined by Xavier Walton, who's got 3 interceptions already this year. Look for him to have a big day again today against UTBB.
100%. You switch sides and go over to this Texas Permian Basin squad. Again, Coach McCullough, a guy that we've had on this show, and we have a lot of respect for what he's done down there. Fellas, Coach McCullough is the 4th coach in the history of all college football, whether that's Division II, Division III, or beyond, to have 30 wins before the age of 30. That is head coach, of course, and that is an accomplishment and a feat that I don't think can be understated, correct?
Right.
That is something that is so impressive at any level of football. I made the comparison of this UTPB team. We did a little fun show on the D2 portion of the show earlier this week to NFL teams. The Falcons are the Colts in my eyes, and it starts with Cannon Gibson, the quarterback, the signal caller for this UT Permian Basin squad.
I love that.
He is the Daniel Jones of this Falcon offense.
Great
2
ball
guys
knowledge.
that came from different situations are getting that fresh start that they feels like they desperately needed at this new location, and he has taken it and run with it, guys. He's given the keys to the car by Coach McCullough, and he has this UTPB offense going in great ways. They both have top 10 opponents this week that are really prove-it games for both those quarterbacks and teams respectively, and they've both been doing a very good job of limiting the turnovers. The Colts, I don't believe, have turned over the ball at all this so far in the NFL
Only punted
season.
once, I believe, too,
Isn't
right?
that just ridiculous?
Right.
And
Knock on wood.
UTPB has done an incredible job of doing that as well. So as we keep things moving past the Falcons and the Rams, let's go to some NSIC action. Number 13, Augustana taking on Sioux Falls. The Coup, they need a big bounce-back win. What can you tell me about USF? Kate, a little bit of a different USF.
Yeah, so this Sioux Falls team, Kobe, this is a team that started 3-0, and they scored 125 points in those 3 games. They did lose the last 2 weekends against highly ranked opponents in Minnesota Duluth and Minnesota State. Their senior quarterback, Camden Dean, he's a dual-threat quarterback. He can hurt teams, especially with his legs. But since accounting for 12 touchdowns in his first 3 games with 0 turnovers, Dean has thrown two interceptions in his last 2 games, and he's really been a non-factor with his legs. they have to get the ball to sophomore Hank Brown Jr., who leads the team in receiving yards. He has multiple 100-yard receiving games, but he has yet to find the end zone yet this year.
100%. On the other side of those things, you talk about this Augustana team, and this is one that, they need that statement win. They're still very much looking for the statement win. The Vikings, Sioux Falls, though, they've played Duluth and Mankato back-to-back weeks. This is a team that has been out-physicaled in both of those weeks. Do they have enough in the tank still? Do they have all the bullets in the gun to go toe-to-toe against a very talented Augustana squad? And when you talk about the Vikings, they're 5-0. It hasn't come easy. They had a scare a few weeks back against UMary, a squad that we really did not expect to hang with the Vikings in that game, to be very honest with you. Shout out to them. They're very much still looking for that statement win. You see here, this offense and defense has been very complimentary for Augustana, but they need to be able to put opponents away. Can they do that with Sioux Falls today? The quarterback, Gunnar Hensley, he's a key piece to that success, or at least what they need to have. He's already got almost 1,500 yards through the air, 13 touchdowns without a single interception, boys. Taking very good care of the ball for the Vikings. The biggest piece, though, for me that has kind of been lackluster is that rushing game. The Vikings do not have a top 15 rusher in the NSIC right now.
What?
And you do not
That's
have,
crazy.
the top 15. You don't have a single guy on that list, and it has been kind of a backfield by committee type of situation there for Augustana. But you lose Jared Epperson, and that was the guy that was the bell cow, legitimately the bell cow for this team for so long, and trying to replace, one, that voice in the locker room, but two, his presence on the field has been one that has been a struggle for this Augustana team so far in 2025, fellas. But as we move forward and continue, we've got a big-time GMAC matchup here, and let's talk about Findlay and Walsh. These are two teams that, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season they'd both be coming undefeated into this matchup, I would have been skeptical, to say in the least, right? But that's where we're at. The Oilers right now are absolutely rolling, and I'm a big fan. I can say that. I'm a big fan of Coach Allen, what he's done down there with the Oilers. I have a lot of respect for him and his program. They started the year, guys, with a statement win over what is a top 25 U-Indy team, and ever since then, they've continued to impress. That's been something that I really have admired about them. They have not let off the gas. They certainly, in my eyes, are in the driver's seat of the GMAC right now. And, fellas, we're going to quickly cut away to a break here, actually, if we can cue up the break video here. We're going to cut to a quick break so we can fix something on the production end of the show. So bear with us here. We'll be right back. As we check back in on Small School Saturday, apologies, I have to pull the monitor up on the desk. I'm sure most of you will not mind not seeing as much of my face as per usual, but we're going to keep talking about this Findlay and Walsh team, guys, and this Findlay squad is one that, again, I've got some very high praises for you. Start with that ranked win. They've got a three-headed monster in the backfield, and again, you can have running back by committee in the backfield when three of them are so-so backs. Very much not the case at Findlay. They've got some dudes back there. Christian Davis, Dominic Bennett, Jaden Farmer, those are names you need to know on the offensive attack for this Oilers team. There's still a lot of top top talent in the conference they have to make their way through. Obviously, the matchup with Tiffin towards the end of the year. Ashland's still on the schedule. Shoot, this Walsh team today that has yet to lose in 2025, there's a lot on the table yet for this Findlay team. But again, in my eyes, Findlay very much in the driver's seat of the GMAC. Jimmy, what can you tell me about their opposition?
So this Walsh team obviously coming in as 7.5-point underdogs, but however, they've been outgaining their opponents on offense, 409 yards to 319 yards of offense. Scoring-wise, it's even more lopsided, quite frankly. 33-10 is the average score of these football games, so they're winning, and they're winning convincingly. Obviously, you got to see, can this offense maintain under the pressure of this really strong Findlay defense? I mean, see what happens. You keep establishing this great run game, but if they stop the run, you got to throw the ball. You got to establish the play action. You got to work different looks. And obviously, can Cam Hollabaugh continue to continue to be the anchor of this defense? Discipline, playmaking, consistency is going to be critical if you want to outscore these guys. You want to hold them to low amount of points. So.
It certainly is. We'll keep things going in the Division II slate, fellas. Coming up next, a team that we've talked a lot, and one maybe not so much. Nebraska Kearney taking on Pitt State in the jungle. Lopers need a statement win today on the road.
Right, we're looking at, Pitt State's a team we've talked about time and time again this year. Fellas, they said, let's just have the hardest schedule basically in the entire country to start the year, right? And then let's go play in one of the hardest conferences in all of Division II, right? They played number 1 Ferris State, number 19 Central Oklahoma, number 3 Grand Valley State, Fort Hays State, who is receiving votes, and they have lived to tell the tale so far, fellas. Now, the best thing for Pitt State, obviously they got a loss in there. They got everything in front of them now at this point. They can certainly go through, win their conference, and go on and have a wonderful end to their season and continue to make a run in the playoffs. But everything so far, man, that's behind them, not going to really affect them now. I'm so excited to see what they can do. I think it's going to be a dominant win today, fellas.
The momentum for the Gorillas is one of the scariest things in all of college football right now, but the man they need to stop is Isaiah Harris. The running back for UNK is right now the second in the country for rushing yards. He has had incredible performance upon incredible performance for this Kearney team. The offense starts and ends with him in the offensive backfield. The one thing we know has to travel is the ground game in between the tackles. Kearney is certainly counting on him to have a day. They still have multiple quarterbacks playing meaningful snaps for this Lopers team. I'm not sure if that's something they see continuing into the rest of the season or if that is still very much a figure-it-out type of situation to see who is going to step up and take that job, so to speak, from the other. A lot of competition in that room is good, but to a certain extent. We'll talk about the Johnnies later on, who kind of have a very similar situation, fellas. Corner Ife Current leads the MIAA right now. 4 interceptions already in 2025 for him.
Crazy,
big-time name on the defensive side. Xavier Morrow already 3 sacks, 7 TFLs. So disruptive in both the front end and the back end of the defense. That's complementary football. I'd have to imagine, I didn't get to see him on tape, but the interceptions, that could be a forced errant throw from some of those D linemen getting pressure early on in the quarterback. This is a win that can propel UNK into the national conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
You take down Pittsburgh State, not only are you talking about a top 25 UNK team, you're talking about a team that, shoot, they might go and win the MIAA. This is a dangerous game. That's a dangerous trap that those players and coaches cannot fall into, but I'll talk about it. This is a very fun one. Excited to have our eyes on this one, boys. And as we cut over, let's talk about a game that I think, although maybe not the highest level of quote-unquote competition today, fellas, this is one rooted in very deep history. The Black Hills Brawl, South Dakota Mines at Black Hills State at 8 p.m. tonight. This is Division II football's oldest rivalry. Guys, tonight is the 140th edition of the Black Hills Brawl. The last 4 meetings are 2-2. It is also a battle for what they call the Homestake Trophy out in Spearfish. So this is going to be an incredible atmosphere. And again, you look at the teams may not be having the best years in 2025. This atmosphere, though, is going to be second to none, in my opinion. The people have obviously bought into this. When you have a rivalry with a singular opponent that sticks around as long as this one does, something special is going on, right? And again, whether or not the quality of these two teams respectively is great, you look at tonight, both of these teams go into this matchup thinking, guys, we have to go out and win this game. This is a must-win for both of these teams and a win that can change your season around. Pretty sweet, man. 140 games.
That's a lot of football being played between these two teams, man. That's a lot. I mean, there's teams that are in the same conference that haven't even been able to play that many times. This is awesome. I'm excited for this.
Yeah, you know you're doing something right, especially when the big dogs, the big desk at College Game Day are talking about you as well.
Yeah,
so that's how you know, like, all right, this is legit. Like 140 times is crazy, bro. Like,
yep.
What year is that even?
Well, 2025, I believe, is the current year, minus 140, whatever that is.
What is that, 1885?
It definitely predates 19th century. Like that's
1885,
insane.
140 years ago.
And they can't find the video of Wilt scoring 100 still.
Correct. Very much going to be the case here. Let's take a look at our site for today, fellas. And we talked about the Black Hills Brawl, of course, but behind that graphic, this is Royal Stadium, where we'll be set up today for this matchup where Bethel hosts St. John's. A great look at what have been some incredible conditions already. The wind, if you could die down a little bit, it'd be much appreciated. But look at this beautiful setup. Seth, you said the time that you played here, this field is still a grass field.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was grass. It was rainy. It was muddy. I didn't have a lot of mud on my jersey because I did not play very much, but a lot of guys had a lot of mud on their jerseys. But, yeah, this field looked absolutely beautiful. Now, St. John's, they're going to have to walk at least 2 hours to get back to their locker room over. I mean, I'm not kidding. They're going to go down this path over here. They're going to go all the way down there. And I believe if all things are the same, the locker room is at least 2 hours that way.
That was back in 2015, was it?
2019. Come on now. Goodness gracious. I'm not. Oh, watch out for that B now.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And so we wrap up our Division II slate here. We're going to take one more quick break. When we come back, we will be joined by the head coach of the Johnnies. So stick around for that conversation on Small School Saturday.
What comes after college? It's a big question, one that feels more uncertain than ever. At Bethel University, we prepare students for what's next. We're so confident in this preparation, we're launching a new career commitment, a job or acceptance to grad school within 6 months of graduation, or we'll help you get there. Because at Bethel, you'll get more than a degree. You'll find a clear path where you can belong and become, a path with promise.
I was my first time over there.
Joining the show now is Seth, obviously getting Janny here, but here he is, man. We are so excited to get you behind the desk, Coach, and your tenure at St. John's. They've won 16 MIAC titles. That is a ridiculous number. 21 postseason appearances, 82 All-American selections. Now the head coach of the Johnnies, although your tenure includes a lot more than just that title here, as I'm well aware. It's Gary Fashion. Coach, such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Incredible to have you here.
You did mess up my name already.
I did.
Yeah, Fashin.
Fashin.
That's okay.
I'm gonna take that one all the way down. That is terrible. But Coach Fashin, thank you so much for joining us here today. I really appreciate you taking some time to talk about this game and this matchup. A couple of the guys, when we got them on the Zoom calls, they talked about making this game feel like a home game. What is the expectation level for this sea of red that I'm imagining to roll in to Arden Hills here shortly? And how has this matchup been built up, especially in this last 5 years or so?
Well, first of all, our fans are incredible. They do travel very, very well. So I do expect a large sea of red here today.
Heck yeah.
I know Bethel doesn't like their color red, I hear. But you know, our fans will be here. And, you know, it's been a great rivalry, I would say, for the past probably 15, 20 years. You know, when Steve Johnson took over and built this program, there were, I don't know, maybe 7, 8 years there where I think they won 6 of 8 against us. And so it's become a great rivalry, and two really, really good football programs. A lot of the kids that are on their team are people that we recruited.
Yes.
Great coaching staff. Coach McElroy and his staff do a great job. So we know it's going to be a great game. It's one of the great Division III games around the country each year when St. John's plays Bethel.
You talk about those similarities, and that was for me the biggest thing looking at it. We're going to talk about two guys, and of course Dylan and then Devin on the opposite, that are both the AFCA Good Works teams members. It feels every step along the way there's similarities across the board for these teams. The recruiting trail seems to be very much falling in line there. When you game plan and prep against this, is it almost like looking in a mirror and seeing a lot of, obviously, you've got a little bit more time around the block than Coach McElroy and company, and so will some of that come into play in a matchup like today?
Well, I mean, you look at it, and first of all, you got to look at the fact that both teams probably lost some really key guys from last year.
Sir.
But they just reload, and good teams do that. They just reload. People talk about rebuilding. That doesn't happen at programs like this, where you just keep reloading year after year. Yeah. And so, but I look at their lineup, and there's a lot of kids on that lineup that were probably sitting in our offices at one point when we were recruiting them. And again, you can't go wrong in the MIC. There's so many good schools, so many good programs, and those guys have done a great job here at Bethel.
Now, I'm curious to know, too, when St. Thomas leaves this conference, of course, that is one that has dated back for long before, we've been covering the sport. Did this rivalry and this matchup immediately take center stage? Was that something that had been maybe brewing and or did it take a while for this to kind of become that centerpiece inside of the conference?
I think it had already been going on. If you go back, 15, 20 years, when Bethel started to become a national power, that became one of the games that we knew we had to win each year.
Yes, sir.
And so I think it's been going on much longer than St. Thomas left the league.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, that absolutely makes sense. Is there a program motto, mantra, anything you're leaning on this season, something that this team is bought into, and in terms of, yes, we know where the bar is set for the St. John's program as a whole, is there something that is individualistic, if that's a word, to this team in this season in 2025?
I don't think so. I mean, we talk about setting a standard.
Yeah.
And the standard's been set for a long, long time at St. John's, way before I even got there, believe me.
Yeah, I believe that. I do believe that. Yes, sir.
Coach Gallardi was there for 60 years.
Absolutely.
So, that standard's been set for a long, long time. And we tell our guys it's our job to uphold it and maybe even extend it more.
Yeah.
So if you want to use that, I guess that could be something. But
I'll take it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Seth, you got something for Coach?
Yeah, Coach. Every year it seems like you guys always have elite quarterback play. Whether it was most recently Aaron Severson, who broke a ton of records, or if it was Nick Martin when you got here all the way, or when you took over the head coaching role back in 2013. What do you think it is about St. John's that makes playing quarterback here so attractive? And then also, what can you say about the development once these guys get you?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the offensive system that we run, and it is pretty quarterback friendly. If you're a quarterback and you want to throw the ball and break a lot of records, probably come to St. John's.
I like that.
We had Jackson Erdman was he was a Gallardi Trophy winner. He transferred. We recruited him out of high school. He went to Penn State, transferred after a year, and did a great job for us. When he left, I thought, nobody's ever going to break those records. And then along came Aaron Severson.
That's awesome.
And he kind of did the same thing. He started out at Colorado State and then came back. So I think the system is part of it. And just I think the fact that we have a program that's been nationally known for a long time, I think it attracts people like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. Jimmy, what do you got for Coach, man?
Coach, I got to ask, what kind of impacts does faith have on the locker room?
Well, it's obviously it's one of our pillars, right? We talk about the three things that we ask of our players. Number one, to be great in the classroom. That's why you're going to college, right?
Yes, sir.
Second one, be great in the community. That envelops a lot of things. It talks about service, like a Dylan Wheeler going out and doing all kinds of service opportunities. But it also refers to making sure you're spiritually sound too. And we let our players, I would say, they can make that as big as they want to. We've had some guys who ran our campus ministry for the whole campus, planned all the student masses and everything. So we let them kind of dictate what they want to do with that. Yet we talk about the importance of that in their life. And then the third pillar of that is be great on the field too. That makes a difference.
Of course, it definitely does. And I'll follow that up.
But I do expect that order: classroom, community, football field.
Definitely make that known, and I do really love and appreciate that. And I talked with Dylan about that long-standing tradition of putting Johnny's on that All-State AFCA Good Works team. He is not the first, nor will he be the last to grace the ranks of that team. I asked him this question. I'll rephrase it for you. In the very much the same way where this program is attractive to prospective quarterbacks, whether that be freshmen or in the transfer portal, what is it about that service that has put so many in those ranks? And what is it about your program that, everyone is capable of that service, but if everyone did it, it wouldn't be such a high honor. So what is it about that program that gets it out of them and that really encourages them to be extroverted in that way to go out and support others?
That's a really great question. Obviously, the fact that we talk about it and encourage it highly makes a big difference. They know it means something to the program. And, one of the things every year when we get somebody on that team, I always have them come up and talk about what they did for service opportunities and things like that. And then I said, okay, who's the next guy? Who's the next guy in this group that's going to be on that All-State Good Works team? And we've been fortunate. We've had a lot of them over the years.
Yeah. Someone's got to step up. Next man up, right?
Yep.
It's the same way on the in between the white
No
lines.
doubt.
And talking about that, you tell me this defense hasn't let up a point in 3 games. It's ridiculous, right? That streak, hoping for you guys to keep that thing going today. What does this Bethel offense do well? These guys have to mitigate in order to keep that streak alive.
Well, if that's still intact after today, I'd be highly surprised. Okay?
That would make 2 of us, but I wanted you to say it. It's going to be a tall task.
Bethel's got a very explosive offense. They're averaging, 52 points a game?
Sure.
So we know they've got a great quarterback. They've got 2 really good running backs who can move the pile, and they've got 3 or 4 receivers who can catch the football and get downfield. So they're a big challenge. We haven't been challenged yet, and no discredit to the team.
Of course.
We've played, but this is another level.
Yes, sir.
Bethel's offense
Yes, sir.
is another level than what we faced.
And on that note, their defense certainly has been holding opponents maybe not to the same level of success as the Johnnies, but look at your offense, right? And this is one that Gendro talked about it a little bit. You go to one wheeler, we might go to the other. Or if I'm open or something. As soon as you take someone out of the equation, someone else's opportunity and door has just opened up, right? You have a quarterback room right now with 2 very talented individuals. Talk about that process. Is that something we're looking to continue in 2025, or are you waiting for one of those 2 to really grab that job and take it?
Well, it certainly wasn't what I was hoping, maybe.
Sure.
But we knew going into this season that we had 2 very talented guys.
Yes.
And we thought, well, one of them will probably separate themselves from the other during camp. And they didn't. They both played at such a high level. And then we went into the season saying, okay, well, once games start, maybe they'll separate themselves. And they haven't. Last week, they each had 4 possessions, and they each scored on their 4 possessions.
Yes.
So as long as it works, we're going to continue to do it.
Yes, sir.
And I think the fact that we have a lot of weapons on offense, you talked about, Joey mentioned that, going from one wheeler to another. They've tried to take Dylan Wheeler out of the games these first 3.
Emphasis on tried, by the way. Yes,
well,
sir.
and it's worked to an extent.
Yeah.
But Joey Gendro now has 27 catches in 3 games. So,
My goodness.
you got to pick your poison a little bit. But again, that goes back to the quarterbacks. You got to distribute the ball and make sure you're getting it to the open guy.
My last one for you, I do want to ask about Joey. That's my guy. We each have a difference maker that we choose. He's my guy today. I've loved watching him play. The way that he has been implemented into your offense is seamless. He's so versatile. He almost seems more like an H-back than a true inline type of tight end, obviously, of course. What is it about his, of course, the frame and athleticism come to mind right away, but talk about his football IQ. It takes someone a little bit more than just put your hand in the dirt, block the defensive end, or go out for an out route. He's so intricately placed into your offense in every single facet of the run and pass game. How has that developed, and how has he impressed you in that way of this football IQ?
Well, and you said the right word, developed, because when he came out of Minnetonka High School, he was probably not a great blocker.
Okay.
And I would say even his first year, he was not very good. But he has developed into a really, really good blocker.
Yes.
He's a total package. He can run every route. He's a nightmare mismatch, because if you're going to try to match up a linebacker on him, he's probably going to beat you.
Yes, sir.
But
Definitely.
he's one of those guys who's probably spent more time in the film room with our coaches, watching the game, understanding it. And and it showed, because last year he ended up being an All-American, and this year he's off to an incredible start for us.
Much thanks to you and your staff, Coach. Thank you so much. That's all the questions I've got for you. We'll let you get back to your game day prep. Coach, head coach of the Johnnies, Gary Fauci. Coach, thank you so much for joining us. I have a ton of respect for you and your program. We are pumped to stick around and check out this game today.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Yes, sir. That is the head coach of the Johnnies there as we move forward on Small School Saturday. Again, we'll be joined, for those that are more fans of the blue than the red, we'll be joined by Coach McElroy here later on. But, fellas, absolutely, we were just joined at the desk here by a legend. I mean, that is a guy. You talk about his tall task in following up Coach Gallardi here, who had been here for decades upon decades, a name of which is recognized by the highest honor, individual honor in D3 football, and the Gallardi Trophy. And let's talk about the guys under center today. And Seth, I think I'm going to start with you. We talked with Coach about the quarterback by committee trend for the Johnnies. What can you tell me about this quarterback group and what we can expect from them in today's matchup?
Well, I'll tell you this. Having a 2-quarterback system is not an easy thing, primarily for each quarterback, right?
Sure.
There's 2 ways that they can go about it. They can either, one, go against each other, not work together well. But, I watched one of their Johnny Built videos. By the way, they do a phenomenal job incredible job with their video production team over there. But I remember on one of those videos, they highlighted both of those guys, and they said right at the beginning of the year, no matter what, we're going to work together. We're not going to really, we're not going to try to go against each other. Everything that we do is about this offense, right? And so far, man, I mean, Dylan Wheeler said, right, these guys play with a ton of confidence,
yes,
right? And they've been extremely selfless and respect one another. So when one of them comes off the field, they don't go to, the quarterback. They go to each other, right? They want to know what each other just saw so that when they go back out there, they can have a good drive going up. So I have a lot of respect for doing a 2-quarterback system, especially for the quarterbacks that are playing in that system.
100% as Hurricane Bethel rips through our tent here. But do you think if you went and asked these quarterbacks a couple questions, you think they'd ever mime any questions back to you?
Potentially. I mean, I don't think these guys would. I think they have a ton of respect for each other, maybe unlike some other quarterbacks out here.
Maybe if Rex Ryan was trash talking them, then he would have mimed back.
Whoa! We got to come to the defense here. Yeah, there it is. The Shadur Sanders clip that, of course, went viral across the Twitter and different space. But I bring that up to show the level of respect that these guys have for each other. And they've been so complimentary in their play. Trey and Xander, what they've done in this backfield has been really admirable, right? And the true test, again, is today. Does one of these guys take that job, so to speak, from the other in a nice fashion? Do they take that job away, or is this something we're going to see throughout the course of 2025? We certainly will see. Feeney, he's been very efficient, a very high completion percentage, in 2025. No interceptions the first 3 games, 6 passing touchdowns to go along with that. On the other end, the dual threat in Dibbenner brings more of the running production with his legs on the ground for this Johnny attack. He's also been a good passer, 11 rushes, 75 yards, 4 touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns to go with that. These guys are very complimentary. Would not be surprised if we started to work in some packages where each of those guys get to shine respectively. But Jimmy, I asked you about Cooper on the other side for this Bethel team earlier. Let's circle back to Cooper Drews, the quarterback and signal caller for the Royals.
The thing about Cooper Drews, he was very quick to deflect, talking about himself. He wanted to talk about how the youth of this team is not to be mistaken for inexperience. There's a lot of young guys. There's a lot of guys that are young that have played quite a lot of football for them. Obviously coming in from St. John's, big storyline today.
Yes.
Very, very big storyline today, but I'm sure he's still got some good relationships with those guys. I saw him shake Coach's hand over here earlier before the interview, so it was really good to see they still have a good relationship. He has yet to beat St. John's, though. I'm sure he really wants to get that one today.
That is a tough one. Yeah, so Cooper Drews, the story is the quarterback for Bethel, started his career as a Johnny in 2023. The turncoat transfers to the dark side at Bethel University here, and I'm sure these Royals could be very excited about that one because he has been nothing short of phenomenal under center for this Bethel team, and there's no bad blood. I don't get the sense that there really is any bad blood on either side of that arrangement, but he had talked about last year, guys, in 2024, the first time coming out against this Johnny's team since transferring, it was like practice all over again, going against the ones. He said, looking across that line of scrimmage and knowing every one of these guys you're seeing on an individual basis was an experience and an opportunity that gave this rivalry and this matchup a very different and new perspective. But you talk about his production on the field, he has been one of those ones, man. I mean,
he's a big dude too. He came over here, and I did not expect him to be a big dude. I mean, but he is. I mean, he is well put together, and he is a He's a tall sumbitch, I'll tell you that.
Bro, he's Anakin, bro.
He does have a flow, too. He's an absolute glow up,
I wish
too.
we had the transformation. Yeah. The
I wish we had that.
really Anakin, bro.
The headshot from 2024 to 25 needs to be listed on. Yeah, there's an NIL deal in the process there, like the Jackson Dark, Anakin Skywalker type of.
He is.
Process.
He's Darth Vader. He's about to be Darth Vader. I'll tell you that on the field today. I mean,
I like that. I like that. And there's our first copyright on Small School Saturday.
There it goes.
Let's switch over and talk about what some may call the biggest game in Division III football this week. We might be quick to disagree, but UW Lacrosse going into Perkins, taking on UW Whitewater. This matchup, Seth, is one that has fed families for the last couple of years. What can you tell me about the host team today in the Warhawks?
Well, the Warhawks used to be the most feared team in all the land, right? But lately, they have kind of been an afterthought in the national conversation. And here's what I'll say, no disrespect, but Coach Rendell, this offseason, he got rid of his entire offensive staff, essentially to say, hey, this losing thing, this ain't my fault. This is somebody else's fault, okay? So they've had some interesting quarterback situations lately, right, over the past few years. But now it seems like Justin Klinker, who we're seeing here a couple times on the film here, right, in his first 3 games, he's completed 72% of his passes, 6 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
That's
right?
Big. That's big.
Defensively, they're always going to be good. It's like, oh, Whitewater's Mike's good, no kidding. Whitewater's safety's good, no kidding. That defensive front is particularly what makes this team so hard. They play that crush front, which makes running the ball super difficult with difficult angles. But here's what I'll say. If anybody thinks that Lacrosse is just going to walk into Perkins Stadium and whoop on the Warhawks, they're sadly mistaken. But it feels like all the pressure seems to be on Whitewater today, man.
It certainly would seem to be that case. And again, this one is certainly one of the bigger matchups in all of D3 football. What do we think? Is Whitewater and Lacrosse the game of the week this week?
Yes.
I don't hear anybody saying it.
But well, maybe a little bit of a conversation to have, but tell me about the other side here, the Eagles from Lacrosse. What can they go and do to prove themselves in a very hostile environment this afternoon?
Number 5 team in the country is coming in as a 5.5-point underdog here in this one. And
surprising to me, honestly.
The last time Lacrosse came into Perkins Stadium, Michael Steck hit the kick heard around the world, and there is a less than 0% chance that Whitewater has forgotten about that one. I tell you what, folks.
I remember that, dude.
Yeah, coming in 3-0, Lacrosse coming in 3-0 with no reason to think they won't be 4-0. Very well coached football team with a plethora of weapons on that offense. You know, you talk about Jack Janke, you talk about Kyle Haas, you know, guys like that. And actually had a great opportunity to talk to Coach Yagi this week. Got a nice little quote from him here. We can't beat ourselves in this process. Turnovers, negative plays, drops, have to play extremely well and be disciplined because they're the most disciplined team in college football. A lot of mutual respect between these two programs.
There you go.
And have been for a really long time. That's why they're so good every year. So Lacrosse, they got to go in there. They have to establish the run game early. Maybe you get Gabe Lynch a little bit more involved today. And obviously you lean on Janke and Haas as well to contribute on 3rd down and long, you know, get those big plays.
Well, as Coach Foshing just said, right, it's like good teams in Division III, they don't reload or have they don't have a rebuilding year. It's the same thing for both of these teams. Like, there's new faces, there's new quarterbacks, there's new offensive linemen, but guess what? They're still really good.
Right. They certainly are. That game today might legit register seismic activity.
We'll probably hear it over here.
Yeah, we might.
But they might hear this game over there, too.
They might. Let's switch over to the CCIW, fellas. The battle for the Little Brass Bell. Wheaton at North Central. The Cards. Could they get their first true test? I don't want to say first true test. The game against Oshkosh certainly didn't turn out the way that we imagined it earlier on in the D3 football season. But let's talk about this Wheaton team, I think, a little bit. We have to talk about the what I would say is definitely the underdog in this matchup, fellas. Would you agree with me on that one?
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Wheaton going into hostile territory today, boys. What you need to know about this Thunder team, they're averaging almost 500 yards of offense per game. That puts them 16th nationally in total offense. Their offense is explosive, too. Almost 50 points per game. That's good for 8th in all of Division III football. And that's really thanks to a dominant O-line. The play up front by the guys in the trenches. Quarterback play by Seamus O'Connell, brother of Raiders quarterback Aiden O'Connell. That's certainly a storyline to watch today in the D3 landscape. But when it comes to today's matchup, boys, this Wheaton team has a very tall task in front of them. Cade, what can you tell me about the reigning, defending national champions?
Yeah, so look, with a team of this caliber, North Central, week in and week out, you're going to have a target on your back. That's what comes with dominating opponents for as long as they have. I'll give you the quick notes here. 3-0. They've outscored their opponents 151-28. and they're led by a guy by the name of Garrett Wilson, funny enough. And he is a freak athlete,
He's
just
a
like the
dog,
Garrett Wilson
dude.
on the Jets. He's put up video game numbers the first couple of weeks, yet threw 3 picks last week against Wash U in a 44-14 win.
Don't like that. Don't like that.
I mean, he threw 3 picks, they scored 44 points, and they won. So, I mean, if you can do that, I'm not sure who's going to beat you. And then on the defensive side of the ball, look for number 92, John Sullivan. He's a senior from Lakeville, Illinois. He's got 2.5 TFLs, 2 sacks, 3 pass breakups, and 4 QB hits this season.
The big thing is, 3 interceptions against Wash U, which, again, no shot to them, but you can get away with that against a team like that if you're North Central. The question will be, if that happens again, can you squeak by a Wheaton team with that same stat line? They're, of course,
I don't know.
They're not
Kobe.
They're not hoping to have that same thing plague them 2 weeks in a row. Let's go back to the WIAC, fellas. Another big-time nationally ranked contest. Seth, start us off talking about River Falls taking on the Titans today in Oshkosh.
Wait, who? Oh, yeah, sorry. River Falls, my favorite team in the entire country. Sorry, I'm not biased. I am. But listen, Caleb Blaha, we've talked about him. I've talked about him plenty. He leads the WIAC in passing and is second in rushing. He has 1,300 yards of offense in 2.5 games. And I say 2.5 because he didn't play the second half of the Bellhaven game.
Stupid.
The next highest in the WIAC, 833.
It's not even believable, dude.
That's like ridiculous
I think he's
stat.
broken his own record for total offense in a game twice at this point, right? They have weapons everywhere. I told you guys going into that game against Alma that they have weapons everywhere, but you guys saw it firsthand. But here's what I'll say about this matchup with Oshkosh. They've beaten Oshkosh 3 out of the last 4 times. The only loss, I was there, in 2023. The Falcons had 35 first downs and 535 yards of offense the last time they went to Titan Stadium, right? If it weren't for an interception on the goal line, actually, and a sack fumble that ended in a touchdown by Oshkosh to end the first half, I think it would have been 4 straight, right? So if the Falcons can take care of the football, they're going to roll today.
They certainly will. But Oshkosh, the Titans have something to say about that. Give me the quick notes on the Titans.
Titans coming in at 2-1. That one loss, North Central. I mean, it's really tough to beat those guys. Last time around in this matchup, Oshkosh, and I'm sure the Falcons are going to be wanting to take over the trap. I mean, come on. I mean, it's going to be a big one here. WIAC opener, the Hall of Fame day for today as well.
Okay,
So that's
like
a pretty
that.
big one. Oshkosh was outgained heavily on the offensive side of the ball last week, so look for them to change that this year. They got to find a way to control that River Falls rushing attack with Caleb Blaha as well. And turnovers are going to matter big time in this one. You got to generate some big plays on defense.
One of only 2 losses for the WIAC in non-conference play. The other, of course, being
Stout against
to
Wartburg. I mean,
Wartburg.
it's
So
two top 10 teams.
This certainly is. Let's switch things over. Seth, right back to you, my friend. Talk to me about the matchup. Utica taking on Cortland.
Right, I'm actually really excited for this matchup for sure. Tyler Zalowski, a guy that we've talked about a bit, leads all of Division III in passing with just under 1,500 yards passing up to this point, boys.
Hello.
It seems like this is kind of an unstoppable force versus a movable object. Utica's offense has been unstoppable other than their last game against Hobart. But I'm really excited. On the other side of the ball, right, Cortland's only allowed 12 points in conference play. So, I mean, again, it seems like a potent offense versus a really stifling defense, boys.
It certainly does. On the flip side of that, let's talk about this Cortland team a little bit. A team that is not too far removed from a national championship of their own. Now, a lot of the faces inside of that building are no longer a part of this program. The head coach has since moved on. But the tradition and the bar of excellence that has been set by that program and the ones that paved the way for that has gone nowhere. This Cortland team is very much certainly still in the national conversation. Can they sustain the balanced offense and a run and pass attack that they've had through the first couple weeks of the season? Whether the defense continues to dominate, especially in early games. Again, it feels like this week we're seeing a lot of the true tests in D3 football, which I'm very excited to talk about. And I'm also very curious to see how, hashtag Fear the Moose Utica responds to this up-tempo offense from Cortland. We talked a lot about, that seems to be the trend right now. The best teams in D3 are moving the ball very fast, getting a lot of offensive plays inside of this game. So we'll see, man. Aiden Weiser, he had 3 of the team's 5 sacks in the Morrisville game. Look for him to have a big game today. That pass rush for the Red Dragons to be very potent, fellas. But let's talk about a game in D3 football that I'll tell you what, boys, I'm pretty excited to talk about. Not one that might make your top 25 slate, but this is one you need to know about. Something has to give. Maine Maritime taking on Nichols College in D3 football. These are the numbers, fellas. Nichols College. Their defense has allowed 215 points through 4 games. That's astounding. Not in a good way either, let me add. Maine Maritime flipped the script. Their offense has scored only 29 points through the first 3 games. This game going on 1 o'clock Eastern time over there in Maine, you have what is potentially, I'm going to say it, potentially the worst defense in D3 football going up against potentially the worst offense in D3 football. Hence my title, Something Freaking Has to Give, boys. How do you go into this one approaching it from a standpoint of like, this has to be a prove-it game for both these teams?
All it takes is one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't care. Both those locker rooms better be saying to each other, we're 0-0 going into this one. Let's go get one job done. Get your job done for 4 quarters and see what happens.
Well, I mean, if you're the other side of the ball, you're like, okay, well, it's going to be a matchup of the other 2 offenses and the other 2 defenses, right? That's really how I kind of see it. Very low-scoring affair, but maybe a very high-scoring affair. I don't know. It's like it's a conversation in my head. I can't quite figure out.
Now, one of these 2 teams is going to pick up a much-needed confidence boost today, right? Certainly looking back at their track record, in 2025. Seth, the over-under for today's game is set at 87 points. I don't think it will be that low-scoring affair that you possibly predict. What do we think of that line for an offense that has scored 29 in 3 weeks, Jim?
I just love points. I love points. I could sit and watch this football game all day today. I mean, I think it might be 100 points today in this one.
Okay. Now, Nichols, guys, if you remember, they were a team that just very recently went toe-to-toe with Coast Guard and set a new record in all of Division III football for points scored, with over 150 points being scored in that contest. They scored, I believe, 70 or 80 points and lost the game.
It's crazy.
To Coast Guard.
We talked about it, right?
Genuinely could not imagine that. Could not imagine that. But
I'm telling you, they flipped they switched everything up. They're running a completely new defense this week. They're probably putting 6 on the line of scrimmage.
So they gave up 90.
Right?
Yes, correct. That would be good math. Good math. But we are going to take one more short break here on Small School Saturday. When we come back, we will be joined by the head coach of the Bethel Royals, Coach Mike McElroy. So we'll see you right back with head coach of the Royals at the desk.
What comes after college? It's a big question, one that feels more uncertain than ever. At Bethel University, we prepare students for what's next. We're so confident in this preparation, we're launching a new career commitment, a job or acceptance to grad school within 6 months of graduation, or we'll help you get there. Because at Bethel, you'll get more than a degree. You'll find a clear path where you can belong and become, a path with promise.
Welcome back to Small School Saturday. We are joined now by the head coach of the Royals, Coach Mike McElroy. So excited to have this guy on. Your second year at the helm of the Royals, man, has lived Bethel football for so much longer than that. The head coach is just the most recent title that has been added to this resume here for you in Arden Hills. He's got this team poised to make the next step in 2025. Coach, we are so excited to get you behind the desk, man. I want to talk about this squad. How do you describe the strides that this team has made in the last, let's say, 18 months?
Yeah, I think for us it's been a trying to figure out who we are. We graduated a ton of seniors last year from a really deep playoff run, and so we're a lot of still trying to figure it out. A bunch of young guys, a bunch of guys who haven't started a lot of games. We had our guys raise their hand in fall camp, and we had 6 guys who had started more than 2 games for us. And so a lot of newness, a lot of young guys, but it's been fun to see them grow. And we talk about, man, 1 degree better every day, and it's been fun to see those guys just really chip away at trying to get 1 degree better.
That they certainly have. Your quarterback, Cooper, had talked about it with us. He said, hey, there's young guys on this team. Do not mistake that for an experience or for guys that aren't willing to go out there and do their job, do their 1/11th. How have you seen that progress with the guys that didn't raise that hand and had to maybe step into some bigger shoes in 2025? Because you guys have faced some resiliency, right? You've shown some resiliency, faced some adversity, rather, and I don't think the record maybe shows that. But what have you had to overcome these first couple weeks, and how have those guys stepped into some bigger shoes?
Yeah, I think it's fun to see those young guys. What's special about here is being to 4 straight playoffs. Our guys have essentially played an extra season, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
these guys have played a bunch of extra games. They get to practice into late November. And I think that just builds our guys of expectations. It builds extra practice. And then I think just the way our guys come in ready to compete. And Coach Meyer does such a great job in our weight room for us. Our guys are ready to roll when they go. And so it's been fun to see them overcome. And again, obviously a big challenge here today.
Very soon to deflect a lot of credit like most of the great head coaches are. But I'll tell this group that has started to get around here, got a little bit of a Bethel contingency. What has this guy done for this program? I mean, I feel like he has done a lot of really good things for this Bethel squad. 4 playoff runs? Are we serious? That is something that is incredibly impressive at any level, and we've talked about it a couple times. Last year, didn't have the success against this team in the red. They're going to travel today. They got a defense that has done just that and has been suffocating for opponents so far in 2025. How do you find a chink in the armor, so to speak, for this St. John's, this Johnny defensive side?
I mean, we're hoping, man, can you get, they haven't given one up. So it's like, golly, we got to find a way to get in. I was like, man, just break the seal maybe. I mean, they've been really good for a long time, and these games have always been just a blast to prep for and play in, and they're well coached, and they're tough, and they're physical. And so, again, I think hopefully it's just a good game where our guys can cut loose, and you can see some good football today.
Certainly should be the case. And I talked about those guys maybe that didn't have as much experience heading in, but for guys like Cooper, guys like Devin, guys across the board that should be some of the voices in this locker room, the leaders, whether it's on the field or off of it, what have your expectations been for those guys in 2025, and how have maybe they surprised you in the way they've taken on those roles with a team that, like you said, needs leadership desperately, because you and I both know coach-led team is good, player-led is great.
Yeah, I think it's a call to our guys. Like, we've talked all the time throughout this year of like this idea of, man, you got to keep your head, you've got to endure hardship, and you've got to do the work. And so for our guys, that's been the call since week 1, man, just to be level-headed and not let the highs get too high and the lows get too low. And then, again, just continue to do the work and then endure the stuff. Like, they're going to punch today, right? And they're going to score some points, and they're going to do some things that are hard to defend, and they're going to play great defense. And so it's like, man, can we endure? And then can we respond and do the work?
Dan Campbell and many great coaches have said before that Big Lions guy here. Sorry for you.
Go. West Michigan born and raised.
Okay,
so
here we go. So he and many greats have said that the most important thing a head coach does is hire their staff, hire their support staff. Now, whether that's your coordinators, your position coaches, how do you involved in the process with your strength and conditioning staff, your athletic training, the entire vertical integration of a football program? How has that process gone along? How have you assembled that group or kept them together in terms of Bethel, and how important has that been in you structuring this program up for success?
Yeah, I think first thing is like taking over for a guy like Coach Jay, who Hall of Fame coach, and it's not like this place was in shambles, right? Like this place is, the foundation here is unbelievable. And I think I told people last year my job was not to crash the car, right? Like I was handing keys to the Cadillac, and it's like, just don't crash. And so I think for that it's been like, we want to attract the right people. So it's the same in recruiting of, we want to be a place that's attractive to the right kind of guys that are gonna lead and are gonna do things the right way for us and what we want to be. And so it's been fun to see. We have a bunch of alums on staff.
Yes,
and I think what that does is it speaks to the fact of the life-changing experience they had when they were here, and they understand what this place is about and what this place cares about, and then they want to be able to come and give that back. So it's easy when you can just hire guys that have been through it and care deeply about this place and have had an effect on it, and also it's affected them and their families.
Love that, man. Absolutely love that. Seth, what you got for Coach?
Yeah, Coach, good to finally meet you in person. Nice to get to know you a little bit this summer. But, last year you had 2 receivers that had 1,385 and 86 yards. Like, I was looking at that. It's absolutely ridiculous. Joey Kidder being one of those guys. And then now you have guys that step up again. Actually, one of those guys being a quarterback last year, now playing receiver, Albert Rundle. How have you seen guys step up, even when guys graduate, Hall of Fame type players for this place? How have you seen this entire school continue to develop themselves as men, as guys off the field as well as on the field?
Yeah, I think it goes into a lot of what we talk about with our guys all the time, and they roll their eyes when they hear me say it, of like this idea of cultivation for us is like, man, you are putting stuff in the ground and you're not going to reap the fruit until later. And so this idea of like, man, can you put the stuff in, can you nurture it, and can you nourish it? And then can you wait? We're not good at waiting. That's something we want to skip. We want to get to the good stuff. We want to fast forward. Yeah. And we've got guys that wait well in this program. We don't have guys that leave. We have guys that stay, and those guys get developed, and it's fun to see them. Like Rundell's like a guy who's like, he was competing for a starting quarterback spot last year in the fall camp, and now the guy's going to start at wide receiver for us. And so it's just been cool to see that guy work, and then what comes of that on the back end is that fruit that we talk about.
I love that so much.
I got a quick one for you. Are you taking the ball first today or what?
So honestly, it's like some of these things. Like I asked my OC, I'm like, "Hey, what do we want to do?" That's like a game time decision.
So
of
you
like,
are deferring the decision to defer.
You guys give me way too much credit of like this stuff of like, man, I don't even know what's happening.
Well, the wind is coming this way, so it doesn't matter which way you want to kick. It's going to be a crosswind all day.
It's going to be. You guys give me way too much credit. Half the time, I'm like, what's going on? What down is it? Where are we at? So,
fair enough, Coach Jimmy. What do you got for Coach Mack?
So, Coach, I already heard you dropping some scripture talking about the fruits of labor. But what kind of impact does faith have on the locker room?
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, it's like we want to be attractive to guys who want to grow in that spot. And again, that's who we are. It's what we're based on. It's what this place has been founded on. I think that's what makes us a unique place. It's like, man, we're going to play really good football, and we're going to care about your heart and your soul. We talk about this idea of the shirt right now, work and keep. Man, the first call in Genesis to the man was, hey, work it and to keep it in the garden, and that is to cultivate and to protect. And so for our guys, man, your job is to do great work and then protect what this place is about. And so that's been our call to our guys. I think it's been a fun piece of like, we get to do more than football here, right? It's not just like, hey, let's go out there and score some points. It's like, hey, man, like, what kind of man are you going to be when you walk out of here? What kind of husband are you going to be? And then, man, we can look to the king and go, hey, man, like, this is the way to do it, and this is what we want to be. And so, again, fortunate that I was mentored by one of my mentors and Coach Jay, and what he did to me and poured into me and my heart. And now I get to then give that to our guys and even our coaching staff. Like, it's been fun to see like a bunch of guys that are sharpening each other, and then we get to give that to our families and our guys that we coach.
Two programs that have their morals and their ideals certainly in the correct order, right? And football is not at the top of the pecking list for either of these squads. Now, when we had Coach up here, Coach Vashin, he had talked about a potential sea of red invading Royal Stadium today. Is that the expectation? Is this stadium going to be full of red this afternoon, or are we going to be able to change that today, Coach? What is the expectation for this group, this Royals fandom, to come out here? We've got a pretty good contingency inside the gates already, and we've still got a little over about an hour and a half before kickoff. Talk to me about the buy-in and the support from this group behind us.
Yeah, it's just been fun. Again, I think when you build the community the right way, an appropriate way, like that, like you're just going to have some cool support. We have such cool support here from the parents. Like, I'm going to go talk to the parent crew after this, and there's 150 strong down there that we get to talk to. And so, again, those guys just do a great job of being with us and being in it regardless of kind of what happens.
Coach, the last time I was here, all the way back in 2019, this turf was not here, and it was a rather rainy, muddy game. So we were just through the sky cam up here. But the stadium looks beautiful. I'm so excited to finally get back and see some Bethel football here, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Absolutely. Coach, we'll let you get back to your game prep. Thank you so much for joining us. Head coach of the Bethel Royals, Mike McElroy.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you. Excited to stick around. We'll get those headphones, and you're all set as we allow the other Manzo back up onto the set as we continue Small School Saturday. But what an awesome individual. Definitely ahead of an incredible matchup today. 1 o'clock Central kick for Bethel and St. John's as we continue moving forward into Small School Saturday. And we talked about it, guys, the level of play, but also the level of character that both of these teams have exhibited so far in 2025 and also throughout the entire course of these programs' respective histories. That is certainly not exempt from the fact that both of these teams have a player that has been selected to the All-State AFCA Good Works team. This is a team, nominations are put together from schools across the country in every level of football. Both these teams have rich tradition and history placing players on this program. This team, guys, is put together of guys that, yeah, you're probably a pretty good player on the field as well, but your priorities are right. Your acts of service, your selflessness has been put on display throughout your college career. Both of these guys on the screen, Devin Williams, Dylan Wheeler, have been selected to the 2025 2025 All-State AFCA Good Works team. And we want to take a second to highlight both of these guys. And we'll start with Devin Williams, the defensive back from Bethel. He's someone you should certainly keep your eye on today when it comes to the football side of things. But off the field, Devin is certainly exemplary. He has been assisting others as much as he's been improving on his game. It's the Build program here at Bethel. That is a comprehensive transition and post-secondary program for students with intellectual disabilities. Devin and many others have built up this program, building this program to one that is very important for the leader of this Royals defensive secondary. He's assigned different students to help and assist throughout, whether it is work or school, and he talks about developing meaningful relationships with these people, but who better to hear it from than Devin himself?
It's become part of the culture for our team. It's a lot cooler to be a part of something where it's not the way that you're playing on the field, but it's something that you're doing off of it that's right. Eventually, like we're in D3, a lot of the guys aren't turning pro. It's a lot more important to be a good guy off the field and carry that with the rest of your life, as opposed to being a great football player for 4 years from 18 to 22 and then kind of being lost once you get out of here. It's just the opportunity to help out others. I feel like even before I got here, it was always about trying to help out other people and help brighten their day, making sure that everyone else around me is good, not just worrying about getting what I want to do and how can I leave an impact on other people around me. That as I'm going throughout my day-to-day life, it puts things into different perspective of being more grateful for just simple things that happen every day that a lot of times gets taken for granted. Like I'm still in contact with multiple of the students that I work with, and it becomes less of a partnership and like a business thing, and it becomes more of a friendship even when you're not, even when they move on.
You hear it right there from Devin about the work that he's done with the Build program here at Bethel, assisting with some of those students that might have intellectual or learning disabilities and being really assigned kind of in a buddy system to these people. And they've done some really special work here, and it's across the board. I'm trying to do some research on this program for you guys. This is everything. It is really horizontal integration across all phases. It's in the classroom. It's at their respective jobs. It also has to do with their student organizations. They've got a great theater program here I was doing a little bit of digging on, and they've got multiple members of that program that have spots in their plays and other sets of production that, to be honest with you, it's very sad, but if it weren't for a program like the Build program at Bethel, students would not have any resemblance of those opportunities. But not to be outshined, of course, flip it over to St. John's. Dylan Wheeler, the wide receiver, he was a consensus All-American a year ago. He's been one of the big cogs in this offensive wheel that is the Johnny's offense. His off-the-field exploits, that's only the surface of the senior for Dylan, of what he does for this strong tradition of Johnny's impacting their community at home and abroad, fellas. I talked about it with both coaches, the tradition and history with both these programs. Dylan is not the first, and he won't be the last Johnny selected the All-State AFCA Good Works team, but that is still certainly not an achievement that is lost on the senior.
And we just I think St. John's does a really good job of focusing on more than just football. I mean, it's academics, it's football, and then it's also giving back to the community. And so there's a lot of opportunities here to do that. And you're always going to find support from the coaches or the alumni with anything that you want to do. So it's just been a blessing. So I got to go to the Bahamas for spring break my sophomore year with our campus chaplain, Father Nick. He brought 10 Johnnies down there to we did some yard work in a monastery down there. We built some picnic tables and cleaned up an elementary school. And then we also played bocce ball with the Special Olympics group down there. The most memorable thing for me was playing bocce ball in a small area of the Bahamas with a group of people in the Special Olympics, and just seeing the joy that they played this simple game with nobody watching, with literally no glory or anything crazy that could come out of it, no social media stuff. And just the enjoyment they had playing a game with their friends, I think it put things into perspective. I just randomly saw my brother wearing this hat. He's 25, he works in finance, and his company that he works for does a fundraiser for Folds of Honor. Thought his hat was cool, so I asked him about it, and they told me kind of what they do, all about it. And I just immediately felt called to support the organization, I think.
Since 2007, Folds of Honor has provided life-changing scholarships to the spouses and children of America's fallen and disabled military. And now their mission is expanding to the families of America's first responders. You can find more information and make donations at foldsofonor.org, an organization very important to Dylan and many others across the country. It feels like both these teams definitely epitomize leadership that starts at the top down. We've heard from both those head coaches today, fellas. But as we transition and get back to the gridiron and talking about some of the top matchups today across the country, let's set our sights on NAIA football, boys, and potentially the biggest one in terms of storylines is number one in the country, the defending national champions Grandview, taking on William Penn, who is undefeated so far in 2025. Seth, I want you to tell me first about this host team that you're very familiar with.
Yeah, you know, Oskaloosa. I'm from Oskaloosa, born and raised. My dad grew up in Oskaloosa, and I'm pretty sure I asked my dad about this before. I was like, have you ever seen William Penn be 5-0? And he's like, I don't think so. So this is an absolutely historical start for this Statesman team so far. They, you know, just looking back, they haven't had more than 5 wins since 2017, and they already have eclipsed that in the first 5 weeks. Destin Loring is averaging 150 yards a game on the ground, already has 13 touchdowns. The last season, he only had 13 touchdowns all year. So absolutely historical team. So pumped for the hometown team of Oskaloosa, Iowa. So pumped for them. But here's the thing. Absolutely none of it matters if they don't beat Grandview today. So let's see, Statesman. Let's go get it done today, boys.
I'll tell you right now, Grandview is a team, Seth, that is not very interested in
all.
Cinderella stories. They are really hoping that the shoe indeed does not fit this afternoon for the Statesmen. And this is a Vikings team that I could go on ad nauseum and talk about, but it still feels like that opening win for this Grandview team is one that has set them up for success throughout the remainder of 2025. You go and beat a team like number 4 Benedictine to start off the year. It was off to the races for this Grandview squad. Now, I really did not see them getting tested up until this point. Now, they are favored by 27.5 points on the road today, which is a pretty frightening number. But when you have Jackson Waring at quarterback, the 2024 Player of the Year inside of the NAIA, friend of the show, we've had him on the program, look to continue his monstrous season in 2025. This team could roll. Kellen Moore, the junior, 29 tackles, 2 interceptions this year already, certainly a leader on the defensive front for the Vikings. We'll see how that one goes. It will be a part of our pick'em later on, but let's keep things going, fellas, switching our eyes over. Cade, tell me about this Lindsey Wilson team going on the road at Georgetown, big-time Mid-South game.
Yeah, well, this is a ranked matchup, obviously, here. This Lindsey Wilson team's a team that started 4-0 with 2 ranked wins already under their belt. Week 1 against Texas Wesleyan University and Week 3 versus St. Thomas University. So, you know, beating a ranked opponent is not new to these guys, which is huge, I think, for experience and some leadership aspect of it. And they got to stick to their big guns. Quarterback number 11, Tate Rice, who's taken over the starting role. He's got 10 touchdowns, 1 pick in the first 4 games. And the running back tandem of Devontae Sanders and Stephen Mack. Sanders has rushed for 460 yards and 4 touchdowns and adding a 62-yarder last week to put that one away late. And Mack also added 2 on the ground last week in a 35-27 win versus Reinhard. They focused on adding depth at key positions from their transfer portal to supplement returning talent and great balance.
100%, they certainly did. Now, Seth, talk to me about Georgetown. It's the Tigers team that is underdogs on their home field in a top 25 matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the individual, you know, or easily this is Georgetown's biggest game of the year. I'll say that first and foremost. Didn't play as well as they wanted to against St. Thomas their last time out. But what I do know, I'm very familiar with their offensive coordinator, Caleb Carrill. Had him on the pod this summer. He's an absolute, I mean, he's a genius. He's an absolute wizard. Got to know him a lot. But here's the thing about him. He's going to layer. He's going to love this. Layering concepts with formation distortion.
Okay, wow. That's coach speak.
It's coach speak
That's
for
good.
sure. But what that essentially means, he's going to run the same play a lot of ways, right?
Yes.
He's going to run
Window
a lot of
dressing.
the same plays in a lot of different ways. I love that. Right, it's going to make it it's going to be a nightmare to defend for this Lindsey Wilson defense, right? Their defense, talking to Coach Carrill as well, is an absolute weapon as well. I love what they are all about. But, hey, they've played 2 quarterbacks so far this season. I'll be very interested to see if coming off a bye, they've solidified that quarterback spot, but we'll see today.
We certainly will. We'll switch things over. Let's talk a little bit more Midwest-type game. St. Francis, Indiana coming in to Taylor. And, again, another pretty big NAIA matchup, fellas, that we'll talk about. Jimmy started off St. Francis What do they got to do to get the win today?
Coming in as slight underdogs at +1.5, over/under at 66.5. Winners of 3 straight games, outscoring their opponents 103-54.
Wow.
In those games. Very well-balanced offensive attack as well. 250 passing yards a game along with 151 rushing yards a game. That is over a quarter mile of offense per game. So they're moving the ball really well. Getting it done on third down as well. You guys know that's my favorite stat. 47% on third down. More than solid. And also, my fun fact for this team, they have only attempted 3 field goals all season. In a close game like this, you're going to need to maybe kick some field goals late in the game.
Yeah, need some field goals, boys.
Okay.
Good stat.
Good
game
stat.
wins.
Good stat. Wonderful.
Good stat, Jimmy.
Love that.
Thank you.
Let me tell you about this Trojans
Good catch
team,
as
though.
well.
Yeah, let me tell you about this Trojans team. They lost their week 1 at Olivet Nazarene, who we've come to find out this ONU team is very much legit after the last couple weeks of play. Taylor, though, they've gone on to win their last 3. They're certainly on a roll right now. Like, feels like one of those teams that got tested early, found out what they were made of, and have used that ever since to pick up some big-time wins. They're averaging just under 500 yards of offense per game. This is an offense that has certainly found their stride, especially in the last couple of weeks. 48 points per game, stat that, led by Damon Hockett on the offensive side of the ball, a guy that we've seen use his legs just as much as his arm. He's very much a dual threat guy under center for this Taylor offensive side. The senior defensive back, Reese Pinckney, 24 tackles, forced fumble, interception, a disruptive player on the defensive back end for this squad. 6 pass breakups. He's definitely got to limit this St. Francis attack through the air because Josh Kolka, the quarterback on the other side for this St. Francis team, who we have also had on the show, from Wayne State, same guy, still absolutely balling. He's got something to say about that. This offense, this offense from St. Francis is going to be absolutely buzzing later today. But Jimmy, I'm going back to you. Let's head over to the great state of Iowa. Briar Cliff going on the road to take on number 14 Dort. Dort is favored by 37.5 points.
Yikes.
Jimmy,
Dort.
What can we say about Briar Cliff? They got any hope in this one?
You know what? The only thing that matters is if the guys in the locker room believe they can win that game. Doesn't matter what we have to say. If they believe, then they can go do it. Who knows, man?
Okay.
Very
so
true.
when you go on the road, he's a 37.5 point underdog against a top 25 team. You have to establish the run game. You have to be disciplined with the football. Those are the 2 biggest things you got to do right away.
Sure.
The GPAC, pretty tough. You know, got teams like Morningside. You took a 40-point loss to them earlier in the season. Hopefully that was just a fluke for the boys. They'll bounce back. And, you know, if like we said earlier, if they establish the run and they reduce the turnovers, they could be looking at a 4-1 start here. Special teams has also been a factor positively and negatively in those close games that they've played. They're going to have their hands full this week. Going to make a lot of big plays on special teams. Maybe a kick return for a touchdown, maybe a block punt, maybe a long field goal at the end of the half.
Oh, boy.
You know, something like that.
Something sneaky for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Onside
maybes.
kick.
A lot of maybes in there, Jimmy. I'll tell you
They're going to go off that Briar Cliff. I'll say that.
I'm gonna.
You're waiting all day for that one, Seth?
I actually just thought about it as I
It's
was
not
sitting
terrible.
here.
I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of maybes in that. The one thing that I know for certain is that this Dort team has stepped up in 2025. Last week, the Defenders picked up their first win in program history over Northwestern College, the Red Raiders, a team that has been synonymous with a national champion-type contender program. Now, it seems that Morningside has been that team in the GPAC to separate themselves head and shoulders above the rest inside of the conference. Dort has made the conversation that this is not a one-trick race here in the GPAC. There might be another team that has something to say about that. They're starting 3-0. This is really their first test after a big-time win. Is this a trap game for a Dort team that is coming off of such an emotionally high contest? I doubt it.
Well,
favored by 40 points.
I mean, potentially, I just don't see it. I think they're going to ride this.
To be honest with you,
through the rest of the season, but. Yeah, I mean,
put that in there
certainly,
to play
potentially.
Devil's
but
advocate. That was more of a devil's advocate type of deal.
It's a trap game for sure, but I just don't see it for this one.
The spread, everything, like the storyline of it, it's a trap game.
Dort's not going to mess this up. Like, they're just not going to mess this thing up.
But not a lethal trap.
No, it's a maybe pepper spray or something. Like it's
okay, so you're surviving, but
yeah,
like,
it's gonna be
it's gonna hurt a
could
little.
be painful, but it's not gonna. No, it's not lethal by any means.
No long-term effects.
This is a big one for Dort. Elliott Beal, 5 catches, 89 yards last week, but the guy who caught the touchdown, game-winning touchdown, Connor, on the outside, they got different weapons that can hurt you at different spots. But let's flip things over. Cade, we got a big-time matchup elsewhere. Cumberland's taking on number 8, Campbellsville. What can you tell me about this matchup?
I tell you one thing, the wind is not my friend today. I know that for
No,
certain.
it's not.
But this Cumberland's team,
Shifted
Kobe,
slightly.
they're coming in playing a top 10 ranked team on the road. They're an 8.5-point dog. You know, they're 3-1 to start the year with their lone loss coming to Kaiser in week 3. So I mean, that's not like any given Saturday team. Like, that is the big dogs of your conference. So looking for that one win, you know, to kind of spark and solidify themselves as a competitive team in that deep Mid-South Conference. And they're led by a guy in Drew Gregg. He is completing his pass through the air at a 72% rate, and he's accounting for 11 touchdowns in the air as well as 2 on the ground.
Big time. Jimmy, give me the cliff notes on this Campbellsville team who has surprised a lot of people in 2025. They're absolutely rolling, the Tigers.
Yeah, I've been talking a lot about offenses today, but in this one, I'm going to shift gears over to the defense. This team gets after the quarterback, plain and simple. First in the NAIA in forced fumbles, fourth in the NAIA in sacks as well.
Okay.
A lot of that is due to linebacker edge Chase Maynard, leading the team in sacks and forced fumbles. Ellis Reed has also been a key contributor on defense as well, leading the team in tackles with 24. Offensively, Trey Bass leads the way with toting the rock for 303 yards and 3 touchdowns. Just feed Trey.
201 kickoff, by the way.
Feed the Bass.
201.
I like that. Let's check back in here at Royal Stadium as we prepare for a 1 o'clock Central kick. The Johnnies taking on Bethel. But first, fellas, we're talking about the NAIA still. We've got a schedule inside of the NAIA that is among the toughest that I have ever seen. The gauntlet from the Ore Diggers. Montana Tech, 5-0 with 4 top 25 wins in 2025, fellas. Week 1, number 5 Montana Western in the Copper game, 38-27 W. Number 25 Carroll, they take them on the next week, 30-19 W. Rocky Mountain, number 24 Southern Oregon, number 25 College of Idaho. You get the gist. This Montana Tech team, the Ore Diggers, are 5-0 for the first time in program history. They're currently ranked 5th in the country. Incredible performance. We've seen this at the Division II level. It took Pittsburgh State a little while to get back up on the horse when they started with their tough schedule. Montana Tech has started in the saddle, and they have remained in the saddle through the first 5 weeks, boys. One of the most impressive starting performances in all of college football, in my opinion. At the wide receiver spot, Levi Torgerson, we had him on the show recently. He's one of the most dynamic playmakers in the country, offensively in the wide receiver spot, but also in the specialist game, the kick return type of game. Quarterback Jarrett Wilson, dual threat problem under center for this Ore Digger offense out there in Butte. And let me tell you something, they play in one of the best environments in all of NAIA football. That is a bucket list spot for this show and for myself.
Absolutely.
Would love to make it out there for a Copper game or otherwise for this Montana Tech
Fantastic
team.
Logo. Again, we've mentioned it, I think, in every Small School Saturday, but phenomenal logo.
They actually switched. It's a different one now.
I hate them. We are no longer interested in going there.
Fellas, let's switch over. Today we're talking Bethel and St. John's, and we're talking about our difference makers for today's competition. Seth, you're going to start us off with a big-time wide receiver offensively for this Bethel team.
Well, receiver, right? But he was a quarterback a year ago. He was actually a thicker kid last year. He was 6'1", 210 pounds. But now he's slimmed down. He's 185 pounds now. He is right. But we talked about it with Coach a little bit. Their last season, their top 2 receivers had 1,385 yards and 1,386 yards. Joey Kidder being one of them, and then both seniors. They had their top 3 receivers graduate last year, right? And right here, Albert Rundle was going to play quarterback. Obviously, lost the battle to Drew Coopers last year, but. Hey, he's
Cooper Drews.
Cooper Drews. Did I say that wrong?
Yeah, you got it.
I thought you did it on purpose.
Did I did it right? Did I got it? Whatever. Right, 9 catches in each of his first 3 games, 4th in the MIAC in receiving. So, right, he's absolutely a difference maker. He made the switch, and he's actually absolutely balling so far this year.
So we've got 2 quarterbacks at the desk, one of which who also made a very similar switch, right? Talk about that process for you and kind of, is that almost a pride-swallowing moment to take that position away from quarterback and make that switch? And how did you approach that? How does a guy like Albert approach that and still be a difference maker on this Bethel offense?
It all depends how you look at it. Certain perspectives, obviously, but he knows the game really well. He can probably read a defense really, really, really well, and obviously that helps with running routes. Like if middle of the field's open, you got to bend it on four verticals. So just little things like that. You can see the field really well.
Look at the recruits rolling out
here. The recruits
have
arrived on campus.
Big-time recruits here for this Bethel St. John's game as the first specialists from the Royals are rolling out to the field. We're here live at Royal Stadium as you see some of the Royal faithful starting to enter into this one, fellas. This game is going to be absolutely fantastic. We're expecting some fireworks, maybe some feeling out early with some really high-level defenses, but boys, this is definitely a big one. You can understand why they would want every recruit in the country to be here for this contest.
Is this a Bethel visit or a St. John's visit? Legally, I want to know, right?
That's a good question. That is very much a good question.
I'm sure they'll figure it out by the end of this game which one we're going to potentially here.
Let's switch over and talk about Joey Gendro. This is a guy for me that I'm very excited to talk about, fellas, and we talked about him with their head coach, Coach Fashing, and this is a guy that has been so intricately placed into the inner workings of the St. John's offense. And to call him a traditional tight end would be a disservice in the highest of varieties. He's so flexible and so dynamic, and the way that he works into this Johnny attack is very fun to watch, just genuinely fun to watch. He is, I mean, look at his frame, 6'3", 230 pounds. He's fluid. I think that's one of the words I would use to describe him. Very fluid in his movements. He's got a lot of confidence, a lot of confidence. I would not say he's cocky, because that's not part of this team, but he's got a lot of confidence. SJU, they keep you guessing. They love to motion him in and out of formation. He's very much like kind of an H-back in that role. He is good in the backfield, good with his hand on the line, and he is lethal through the air right now for St. John's. A very patient route runner, not afraid of coming across the middle. When you're 230 pounds, that's not really a fear that you have coming across the middle and getting dinged up. He's been a go-to for both the quarterbacks for the Johnnies. It's been evident talking with him about the amount of faith that he has in this Johnny team. We talked about faith a lot today. His faith is in his teammates, his brothers, but let me tell you something. I got faith in Joey. He's a dog. He's going to have a big-time game today.
He's an absolute dog. He has been. Like, he's an absolute stud for this freaking St. John's team. Holy cow.
Certainly. Jimmy, one of the guys that will be lining up against him today. Tell me about Jake Borman.
Another guy who's transitioned positions here, Jake, formerly a DB, made a very smooth transition to linebacker, coming with 19 tackles on the year, 2.5 tackles for loss, and 1.5 sacks as well. Very versatile on defense, plays a lot of different positions. Obviously, you probably still throw him at DB if you need to, obviously. But the whole defense has been stellar all year, quite frankly, allowing just 22 points through the first 3 games, just over 7 a game. That's why I'm saying, like, this over-under being so high today is crazy.
It's pretty wild.
I know,
I
know
boys,
both these
they
guys
haven't played anybody yet.
I know both of these guys have great offenses, but you got to remember, like, the defenses might be just as good, if not better.
Yeah, against Hamlin and St. Olaf, sure. But
here we go, boys. Take a look behind us here as Bethel, the Royals, starting to take the field. They've got a kickoff here very soon against a very talented Johnny squad. This
like
Royal
State
Stadium. It is almost a Penn State-esque look from this Bethel team.
Guess what? The other side, it's Ohio State coming out.
That is awesome, boys.
That's a perfect. Yeah.
That is a pretty good look, actually. Yeah, that's awesome. Bethel starting to take the field. You see the specialists, some of the offensive skill making their way here to Royal Stadium. A sea of recruits in attendance for what will undoubtedly be one of the best in D3 football today. But, Cade, let's go to you for your difference maker. This is one of the more fun interviews I had, a guy that I've come to grow a lot of respect for, Zach Frank in the defensive line for St. John's.
Yeah, I'm going to stay in the trenches here, Kobe. Zach Frank, I mean, he's an absolute unit. He's a multiple first-team all-league accolades, including the NovaCare Comeback Player of the Year in 2024. He started off his year strong. He has 6.5 TFLs, 4.5 sacks in the first 3 games. And in the interview with him, Kobe, he said, on defense, we pride ourselves on being faster and more physical than the guys we play against. Yeah. He talks about all the right things, and most importantly, his play backs it up. He adds that this is his, quote, favorite game of the year and, end quote, last one. So look for him to be an absolute unit in the trenches this afternoon.
Absolutely love that. You have to imagine a matchup like this, especially with it being the last time he's going to be able to suit up and play the boys in blue here at Bethel. The anticipation, excitement definitely growing in this venue, and while it might not have, you can see the traffic picking up behind us.
Oh, for sure.
This is going to be a very good contingency. I'm excited to see how much blue and how much red takes up the home and away side here at Royal Stadium at Arden Hills, where we are live with Small School Saturday. But, boys, we're switching our attention back to the national stage. We're taking some bold upset predictions, ranked or otherwise, across the country, any division. Nothing is off the ranks here. So let's start with Jimmy. Give me your upset pick for today on October 4th.
So, Dad, I know you're watching. We are named after this man. James Hannah Martin I was a Wabash Little Giant back in the 1920s. I am taking Wabash over John Carroll today. The Little Giants have been rolling, outscoring their opponents 163-56. They've been winning these ball games convincingly. We've talked about that earlier in the show as well. Averaging 205 rushing yards per game. Run the damn ball, baby.
Like that.
Come on. Hey, Luke Adams has also been a force on the outside playing receiver, 299 yards and 3 touchdowns. I have a feeling he's going to get to that 300-yard mark today.
It looks like as we continue with our potential upsets, one of the pick'em games, Cade may be giving away his pick with his upset choice.
Yeah, imagine I said one team and then said the other. Like I was just, had a little insurance on it. Hey, but I'm going to talk about, I'm hedging it. I'm going to talk about a little game we talked about earlier. I'm going to take Walsh over Findlay today. This is a Walsh team that's undefeated. It's a home game. It adds extra factor to that opposing team. And these guys absolutely fly around on defense, led by a guy named Michael Holman Williams. Sorry if I'm butchering that name. Okay. He has 20 tackles, 2 TFLs, a sack, a PBU, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. This dude's literally a Madden player. And
sliders maxed out on all the categories.
99 speed, 99 punt, all all of that. Hit aggressiveness. This guy flies around. Look for him to lead that charge on the defensive side of the ball today. And Walsh, don't be surprised when Walsh beats Finley today and they get the job done.
Do not be surprised. You heard it here first, fellas. I'm taking us to the NAIA ranks, and my pick for the upset is Hastings taking down Northwestern. The Red Raiders. This is one for me in that, is Northwestern a ranked team? Are they in the top 25 right now?
I mean, they're not.
They're not. They're not a top 25 team. It's the first time you can say that about this Northwestern team in a long time. They're 2-2. I don't care. This is an upset in every facet of the word, in my opinion. Northwestern right now coming off a tough loss at Dort. This is something that the rest of the conference sees the Red Raiders right now, sees them down and out, sees them injured. This is Hastings' opportunity to pile on another loss. And to me, there's a lot of things that scream maybe not a great pick, Kobe. And when I say picks, a lot of turnovers from this Hastings squad. They've done not a great job of taking care of the ball. Worst in the conference right now. 14 turnovers through 5 games. I don't know what it is, what kind of premonition I had. They clean it up today. They get the job done over a talented Northwestern team. They have won, Northwestern, the last 18 games against the Broncos.
My goodness. That's
today
insane.
is the day that changes. That's not part of our pick 'em, but that's my upset pick for today. They need a rebound. Feels like right now everyone has their best shot loaded up at Northwestern because they are paying them back for decades worth of L's, fellas.
We'll see. We'll see. Hey, Kobe, I'm actually going to throw you a little curveball, and I actually have 2. The first one I'm not going to talk about too much, but give me Eau Claire over Stout, Jimmy. Give me Eau Claire over Stout. The Blue Golds are going to roll the Blue Devils all up and down the I-94 corridor, baby. Anyways, I'll move on to my other pick, the actual pick that I have today. But the Blue Devils are going down today, Jimmy.
That would be a big upset. Well, both those teams are undefeated. We can stay on that for a minute here. Eau Claire and Stout coming in this one, both undefeated so far in 2025. Again, though, even though Eau Claire has won 3 games, I think that very much the conversation is still that Stout. This is a must-win for a Stout team that is expected to win this contest. Eau Claire seems to have something rolling over there.
They got that nice new stadium.
I don't know what the air is like inside of the Sonnentag. I don't know what the air is like in there, but this team, this Blue Gold's team, is rolling, and it's not like
Jimmy, where do you live now, by the way?
I live in Eau Claire.
Tax dollars are going right to Eau Claire funding that big facility.
No,
I love that, Jimmy.
Nope, that's not true. That's not true. I have not paid taxes in Eau Claire yet. My last time I paid taxes, I was in Menominee. I have not paid a penny towards that facility.
But Eau Claire, they've had these wins, and you can say what you want about their level of competition. They haven't squeaked by in those games, right? You give them credit for that, of course. They have dominated in every facet. Give me your pitch for the Stout games today.
Let me tell you something.
Okay,
this is Eau Claire's Super Bowl every single year.
Oh, give me a break.
I'm not gonna sit down here and get all cocky like Seth did, but I think that the Blue Devils are gonna win pretty convincingly today. Give me Blue Devils by 14.
Seth, get me back to your.
Well, he did get fired by Whitewater last year, their offensive coordinator, so we'll see.
I mean, hey,
let's get back.
We'll see how it goes this year.
Let's get Seth.
I'll see you week 10.
When's that River Falls game? Week 10.
Week 10. We'll see you there.
We'll see you there.
Anyways,
Seth, you've got another upset pick for us in D3.
Sorry not to go all too far off the rails, but give me the ones that are receiving votes Utica over Cortland. Okay, I love what Tyler Zalowski has done so far this year. Offensively, they've been putting up over 487 yards per game. Have the one loss to Hobart this year, so not looking too good on that side of things. But Utica's 11-point underdog, but again, we've talked about it. It's a really good defense versus an extremely good offense. So yeah, give me the Moose, the Meese. Over,
We're just going to keep it with Moose.
Moose,
Fear the Moose.
Moose.
Go Meese.
Go Meese.
Fellas, we're going to cut over. The webcam, of course, unfortunately, is not working for Jabo's Hut today, but Gavin is with us behind the camera. I don't know if I can give you a good view because of the tent set up with the Skycam, but Gavin does have a very good kind of fun fact for us. Let's see if your microphone's working over there, Jabo. Absolutely no input right now, which is not a great sign. But let's see here if I can't change that very quickly. And Gavin, give me another test. And absolutely nothing. So we are going to take a quick break as we do a little troubleshooting. When we come back, Gavin will have a fun fact for us about Arden Hills and the great state of Minnesota.
What comes after college? It's a big question, one that feels more uncertain than ever. At Bethel University, we prepare students for what's next. We're so confident in this preparation, we're launching a new career commitment, a job or acceptance to grad school within 6 months of graduation, or we'll help you get there. Because at Bethel, you'll get more than a degree. You'll find a clear path where you can belong and become, a path with promise.
Bringing it back now for Small School Saturday, and guys, Chabo's got a good one for us. Gavin Boquette is making his desk debut.
Yes, sir.
It's a little different up here, boy.
The lights are a little bit brighter.
It's a little bright.
The webcam, your microphone, nothing wants to work for us today, but you've got a fun fact that we need you to deliver to the great people of Arden Hills and the great people across the country. Tell me about this spot. There was something very interesting about a professional football team and their supposed history.
Okay, so the Vikings needed a new stadium after theirs the roof kind of caved in.
It did kind of do that, didn't it?
They were going to build a very beautiful stadium here in Arden Hills. Sorry, my Lions fan came out a little bit.
Oh.
They had a $1.1 billion deal with this county we have here. It was $888.4 million for the stadium and $173 million for the on-site infrastructure.
My goodness.
It was going to be built on the Twin Cities Army Ammunition Plant site, which unfortunately is the site, the state's most polluted Superfund site.
Are you serious?
It was going to take a little bit more than a magic eraser to clean that bad boy up.
Oh, no.
Those are the renders right there of what this thing was going to look like, gents.
Look at that thing. That thing is actually really nice.
Hey, I will say I've been to the Viking Stadium 3 or 4 times now, and it is a beautiful place to watch a ball game.
It's
But this looks pretty good. Boy.
Yeah, but they had a request for a $5.9 million to clean it up, and it did not get reviewed, and now they're over in downtown Minneapolis, and actually is a really nice stadium.
What could have been in Arden Hills, the home site of potentially the Minnesota Vikings, but because
it was a dirty site. It was gross.
Dirty site.
It's gross.
Gavin, well done, my friend.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you for delivering the facts and information these people need
They
and desire.
I know they were waiting. That's why they're here, dude. They wanted my fact.
We'll move over now.
We want your facts, Gavin.
And we're going in. We have our line breakers for today, fellas. We're diving into the numbers, the spreads, the over-under, who's favored. These are the teams that we think are going to beat the numbers, so to speak, in today's contest. And Jimmy, it looks like we are starting off with you. Give me your line breaker for today's contest, Jimmy.
We got the Coast Guard and SUNY Maritime today.
Okay.
Over-under sitting at 80. I think that is drastically low. I think it's going to go maybe 103, 104 game total. You think about it like this. Coast Guard scored 92 points this week. I repeat, 92 points.
Against that Nichols defense that we talked about as being very faulty.
92 points.
Correct.
And the game total is 80. This is a no-brainer. Give me the over. If there was a sports book, I'd be hammering it.
Hey, but Maritime's defensive-led head coach, so I bet.
There you are. Yes, familiar with that.
Yep.
Cade, you've got
Anthony Trotta is going to lower that over pretty heavily.
Cade, you've got a pick for us in the Division II realm.
Yes, I'm going to take CSU Pueblo to cover minus 27.5 against New Mexico Highlands. Look, this Pueblo team has every right to be a top team in the country, and they just haven't really gotten over the hump, especially losing to that extra point blocked on that one game. But entering this week 4-1, 3-0 conference play, led by quarterback Roman Fuller, who's thrown for 1,200 yards.
And Cade, not to cut you off, but look behind you, my friend. This might be the Stormtroopers and Darth Vader coming in to Royal Stadium. The Johnnies pulling up for their 1 o'clock kickoff versus the Royals. The biggest game in the MIAC is getting ready to take place here in Royal Stadium. Johnnies, stoic as ever. Look at this squad. They are rolling deep here in Arden Hills, Minnesota. This defense has not let up a single point in 3 games. Both coaches have certainly acknowledged that this squad is not one to be trifled with. You see this. Just a slow march down the field. That's
they
what the Johnnies have done.
300 people on their roster.
This is ridiculous.
I know they can't bring them all, but I'm pretty sure they have 450 people.
The Johnnies ready to take the field here. Can they continue their dominance over the Royals as of late? They had 2 meetings in 2024. St. John's won both of them. One of them was the MIAC championship game. Today, the Johnnies look to repeat history against a very talented Bethel squad. But fellas, Oh, here we go. I got to get the camera on that group as they take the field here at Royal Stadium. The scene is certainly getting set here, boys. Cade, sorry to cut you off, but we are really looking like we're about to play a football game here in Arden Hills, Minnesota.
We're getting close. We're getting close.
Finish off your talk, though, CSU Pueblo.
Yeah, just talking about their quarterback, Roman Fuller. He's thrown for 1,200 yards this year, 13 touchdowns, only turned the ball over once with an interception. And then my personal poll, shout out my boy Adam Saleh. They're going to get the job done today. They're going to cover against New Mexico Highlands.
Former Northern Michigan Wildcat there, picking Saleh. Shout out to him as well. Good dude, good football player as well. I'm going back to the NAIA ranks again, fellas. Give me Missouri Baptist to cover. 27.5-point spread. Feels like a little much versus Benedictine. And I'll tell you right now, Jackson Dooley, friend of the program, a lot of respect for the quarterback over there, Benedictine, that Ravens side. They got a great offense. But I'll tell you right now, that's a big-time spread against the Missouri Baptist team. The Spartans just put up 39 points on the road against a ranked Mid-America Nazarene team. They've done it against really quality competition. The defense, for me, is actually going to be the sticking point. Can the defense hold back Dooley and company from Benedictine? They've been very tested in 2025. They got that Grandview game out of the way already, Seth, so this team knows what it's like to play top-level competition. They had a good showing against MNU last week. They did not get the win, but it just makes them that much hungrier for this week. Quarterback Jacob Jones, 414 yards, 4 touchdowns. That team came alive in the second half. Not quite enough to pull off the upset, but certainly a commendable effort. The Hart Conference, it's so loaded this year. It's ridiculous, dude.
Sure is.
It is legit loaded. But close us out here, Seth, with your pick. This might be the most bold take in all of college football here, my friend.
Well, I have an interesting line here today, and I'm actually going to pick a team's total points to score today. And Logan Hansen Ratings has Grinnell College's total against Monmouth at 0.9 points. So give me the Pioneers to score at least 1 point today against Monmouth.
Pioneers.
The pressure is on Monmouth. Let's go. Grinnell College, give me that 1 point today. I don't care how you do it. Maybe it's a PAT return for 2 points. Maybe it's a safety. I highly doubt that.
Maybe a 1 point safety.
Maybe a 1 point safety, but give me that 1 point for Grinnell College
just
today.
Just get pucks on net for Grinnell, right? You gotta get one. You gotta get one by the.
I mean,
the
a minus 110 for that. Come on now, like that's an easy pick. Let's
the
go.
fact that there is a team that is picked to not score a single point today is astounding.
Actually, Luther College is predicted to score 0 points.
Oh my.
Against Wartburg, and I want to take. They're not going to score any points today. They might
that
not
was
even.
Accurate?
Yeah, that's it. They might not even sniff the 50-yard line today, boys.
Oh my gosh. Fellas, it is that time as we roll into the last bit of the show. As we got a little bit more Johnnies and Royals rolling in behind us. Today, boys, we're flipping over to our game picks, where we pick 3 games across the country at each level. Division II, Division III, NAIA, all concluding, building up to this game here in Arden Hills. We take one more scene and look at Royal Stadium, where Bethel will take on St. John's here. The 1 o'clock kickoff, just under 45 minutes away, boys. But first, we're starting things off with the game picks. Division II, Findlay at Walsh, the game of the week in the GMAC. These two teams are undefeated. Very surprising start for both of these programs. They are not surprised. They both know they can win this one and advance themselves, propel themselves into league title competition. It's the battle of the unbeatens. Jimmy, tell me who you've got in this matchup.
No, obviously Walsh taking host is a big underdog. I think Findlay's going to go in there. They're going to win, and they're going to cover the 7.5 points as well. There's only going to be one unbeaten team left in the GMAC, and it's going to be Findlay.
There you go, my friend. And you know what? This might be the first of a couple times today. I'm absolutely tailing your pick. Findlay, the Oilers, they've got such a great resume of, one, winning big-time football games, but also putting players in the NFL at the next level is something that's very commendable about this program. There's going to be a couple guys on NFL watch list after today because they're going to have big-time performances against the Cavs.
I just don't think Walsh has what it takes to beat these guys. Give me Findlay all day. I just don't. I know they've had some solid wins, but it's not like what Findlay's had to go through so far. I think Findlay's battle-tested.
Now, Cade, you had your pick earlier for potential upset. You have the chance to save the graphic and double down on your pick, or will you be a turncoat and flip and pick the Oilers?
I feel like the average man here would take the safe pick and say, Findlay's going to win. I am no average man. I'm going to take and stick with Walsh to win this game. You guys will be seeing Walsh University Athletics post this later. They'll probably tag me in it and then take a screenshot, say you're welcome here anytime. So there you go, Walsh.
That is the first of our picks today, fellas, and I think that's actually a really good segue. Cade, that's not your first bold pick that you've made in the duration of Small School Saturday. Let's take a look at the records of the picks coming into today's contest here from Royal Stadium.
2-0, Gavin. Let's go.
Gavin Boquette behind the cameras. He gets the pick if the graphic is split, fellas. If it's 2-2, Gavin does get the deciding pick. He was 2-0 a week ago. I currently lead the charge at 15-5, which is very much why I did want to have this graphic put together. Also, so that I could dunk on Cade, who is 9 for 11. And
if
that
you
is
shoot 9 for 11, though, like you're a
sorry,
starter.
not 9 for 11,
wins,
9
11
and
losses.
11. I misphrased right there.
I'm a couple games
You're
back.
a Hall of Fame baseball player.
Exactly.
Definitely some bold takes there from Cade. Seth sits at 13-7 after 2 weeks of the show, and Jimmy, you're at 11-9, respectable above 500. What are your thoughts?
We're gonna get these picks right today, boys. I'm gonna be 20-9 after today.
We will certainly see if Gavin gets any more opportunities. We picked 10 games, so that would be impossible, Jimmy, but good math there.
Pardon me.
Let's switch things over now.
21-9.
We've got our next matchup in Division II, Augustana at Sioux Falls, the key to the city matchup. This has been one that has produced fireworks. Augustana without some big-time offensive pieces in that backfield from a year ago, but they certainly seem to be the favorite on the road at a Sioux Falls team that is beaten up.
You know what, favorite or not, I'm taking Sioux Falls.
Okay, take them at home.
Taking host, the key to the city. It's their house, and they're going to unlock the keys to their house, and they're going to win this football game today.
I said I was going to tail you on a lot of picks today, Jimmy. That is not one of them. Augustana,
boy.
way too potent on offense. Gunnar Hensley, this quarterback for this Augustana team, way too dangerous, way too much for Sioux Falls to handle. Minnesota State, Minnesota Duluth have had their way with the Sioux Falls team. They are physically beaten and broken, in my opinion. I don't think they have enough to put out in the field today and give themselves a good chance of winning. But, boys, before we finish that pick, here come the Royals, man. The home team here at Royal Stadium in Arden Hills getting ready to take the field against a very talented Johnny's team.
They look
the
so
big
sick.
fellas from the Royals taking the field there in Minnesota.
Go big dogs!
I believe this was the offensive lineman coming into.
I certainly think you are correct in that regard. This is the game of the year in the MIAC as the rest of the boys cheering their brethren on, getting into the end zone. But Seth, let's continue with our game picks,
Coach
shall we?
Golgowski, he's actually a former Simpson College head coach.
Indeed.
And for that reason, I'm going to pick against him today and go with Augustana. I think I'm going to say pretty much exactly what Kobe said. You know, Sioux Falls has had a tough year so far, or a tough schedule so far. I think they're beat up. I think Augustana is just a better team.
Cade, what will it be, my friend? The Vikings or the Crew?
You said it's the key to the city game, but it's the key to the Camden Dean game for me. He's going to get back on his stuff from the first 3 weeks. He's going to have a way with this Augustana defense today. Give me Sioux Falls.
Which means, of course, Gavin, we don't have the microphone on you, but we've got a split pick. I will radio in and relay the message, Augustana or Sioux Falls in your first pick of the day.
Augustana, he says.
Augustana is the official pick from Gavin behind the cameras, fellas. That is our first split pick in the Division II realm. But let's keep things going, boys. It's certainly going to be a big-time contest, even after a couple tough weeks for Sioux Falls. The biggest matchup in all of D2 football today, UTPB going on the road, taking on Angelo State. It's a top 10 matchup in the Lone Star Conference. Jimmy, who do you have favored down there in Texas in this one?
I think this one's going to be a clean sweep, guys. Give me North Central. I've made a lot of good friends from the North Central Twitter community.
We are not talking about North Central. We are talking about UTPB and Angelo State.
Pardon me, Kobe. I got Angelo State.
So we absolutely just zoned out on that one. You were so ready to go on North Central.
I was reading it. Yeah.
There we go.
No, we're all good here. Yeah, I got Angelo State here in this Lone Star matchup. It's going to be really, really good one for obviously UTPB as well. They're a really solid program, but I got Angelo State here in this.
It is going to be a really good one. It'll be Coach McCullough's record-setting 31st win before the age of 30 as UTPB rolls in this one. Permian Bays and the Falcons were not even ranked to start the year in the top 25. They've gone and shown big improvements and strides every week. It started with a big win over Central Oklahoma to really put them on the map in the eyes and minds of the national voters. That does not end today. UTPB picks up a win on the road.
Kobe, you called UTPB the Colts, right, of Division II football.
I did. I don't like where this is going.
And with that being said, the Colts are not actually a very good football team. They're frauds in the NFL. So give me the Rams to take them down today.
Pretty sound reasoning.
Yeah,
sound reasoning.
I'm going to piggyback off Seth there. Give me Stafford and Nakua today. Give me the Angelo State Rams.
That's pretty good. Those are the picks for today. A top 10 matchup down there in the Lone Star State. Can Angelo State, their offense much improved from a year ago, pick up the win at home over what is a very quality UTPB side? I am riding solo with the Falcons on that ones, boys. Let's switch over now. Jimmy, I think you gave a little bit of a preview for your pick as I load up the graphic.
Switch it.
Division III football, the Little Brass Bell game in the CCIW. North Central taking on Wheaton. Are the Cards rolling in this one?
The Cards are going to roll in this one.
Okay.
I was just so excited to talk about them, guys. I'm sorry. I was reading off my notes. My eyes were on North Central.
There you go.
Here we go. North Central all the way here.
Absolutely. And Jimmy, once again, I will tail that pick. North Central right now. We talked about it, maybe a little bit of a quote-unquote struggle offensively, turnover battle, whatnot. I think they could do all that and more. They can shoot themselves in both feet today and still probably pick up a win against a Wheaton team that, all credit to them, it took them probably till the second half to really get things going against a very quality Mount Union side earlier in this season. I don't think they have the firepower to keep up with this North Central offense, and the defense that never seems to get enough credit for this Cardinals side. They come alive today. They're suffocating right from the jump.
I picked Wheaton to beat Mount Union in week 1, and they let me down so hard. This is not the battle for the Little Brass Bell. This is the battle between North Central and themselves.
Wow.
So give me North Central to easily win.
You must be a philosopher or professor or something.
I am the professor of sports writing and reporting at V. Simpson College University. So, yeah.
So your assignment for your students should be to watch film on this and give you all letter grades.
Well, I always give them extra credit if they watch the show. Nobody's watched the show yet, so for some reason.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they just keep blowing me off every single time. So they're all going to fail the class. So, anyways.
Cade, close out our picks. North Central or Wheaton in this one?
Yeah, and I'm a believer in miracles, guys. And I got 2 words for you: North Central. I
Okay.
mean, pretty easy and simple as that.
No miracles today,
No miracles
fellas.
are going on today.
Nope.
No switch-ups there. That seems to be the consensus pick across the boys. North Central is rolling in that matchup. D3. Let's move over to the WIAC. UW River Falls at UW Oshkosh. A top 15 WIAC showdown. Jimmy, who do you got?
So I have something to say here. So obviously, I picked against Oshkosh multiple times on this show, and they have always won when I picked against them. So
Okay.
in this case, I am going to take River Falls because I want Oshkosh to win, and they always win when I don't pick them.
Really?
So give me River Falls.
What a ridiculous set of reasoning there. But I honestly, I do not really understand where you're going for on the reasoning and the logic behind that pick. What I do understand and what I do concur with is that the River Falls are going to roll today. River Falls Falcons certainly going to add another big top caliber win to under the belt of what has already been a pretty spectacular 2025 season. Seth, I think I know where you're leaning, but why don't you go ahead and make the pick officially for us? Okay. And we'll move over to Cade. Cade, what do you think? River Falls or
Let's go,
Oshkosh?
boys! Let's rock them today over there at Titan Stadium.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but
Must have had an audio delay in the headphones. I think that's
sorry
what it
about
was.
that.
Yeah, that's what it was.
it must have been some sort of, yeah. But I forgot what I was going to say now. Give me,
Sorry.
give me River Falls. Go Falcons.
Falcons sweep the
4
picks.
straight, baby.
That is a big-time matchup, fellas. Not what I thought the graphic, to the record, would look like today. River Falls and Oshkosh, a big battle. And let's move over now. What some people would consider the top game in D3 football today. UW Lacrosse at UW Whitewater, a top 10 matchup. Jimmy, quickly as we get through the picks here, give me your pick.
I got 2 things to say. Yagi, don't let me down. And give me the Eagles. 14-10. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath. It's going to be a really defensive-minded game. I talked to Yagi this week. He said they'd be lucky to score 21. I think the Lacrosse defense is going to step up big time today. 2 great defenses on the field today, but give me Lacrosse.
And it won't be enough. Whitewater back at home after a big win on the road. Give me the Warhawks.
Yeah, I think they've won Lacrosse has won the last 2 in really heartbreaking fashion.
Yes.
Not today, man. Perkins Stadium is going to come alive. Potentially going to send a D3 football attendance record today. Give me the Warhawks to pull away on this one.
Cade, what will it be?
Send it to Jabo because Lacrosse is not losing this football game today.
We got a split pick here. 2 picks for Lacrosse, 2 picks for Whitewater. Gavin, what will your choice be here, Whitewater or Lacrosse? Whitewater at home is the pick. That is the official deciding factor here on Small School Saturday as we move forward, boys. Quickly to get through before we wrap up this show, we've got 3 picks to make in the NAI football space. Grandview, the #1 team in the country, going on the road to undefeated William Penn. Jimmy, what's your take?
I got Grandview in this one. They're #1 for a reason. I think they're going to go in there. They're going to get the job done today in a big way.
It's going to take a miracle and then multiply that by multiple miracles for the Statesmen to come out with a win today. I feel very confident in my Grandview pick, Seth.
The boys from Oskaloosa are ready to play, fellas. I'm so excited to see them lose to Grandview today, probably by a million
excited to
points.
see a loss.
Yeah.
Bro, you
very
said you
unfortunate.
loved William Penn earlier. I thought.
No, I do love them.
Didn't
That's
you grow up
hometown
there?
team. I'm from there,
That
but
switch up will be that'll be studied in class definitely.
yeah,
later
but
this
it's
week.
not a chance. I'm sorry. The Statesmen 5-0 for the first time, maybe in the history of the program, but not today.
And give me Grandview.
Yeah.
Another sweep here on D1 Reject, but not very surprising one maybe at that. Grandview is the consensus pick for our first NAIA matchup. Fellas, 2 more. We've got Cumberland's at Campbellsville. The Tigers have been very impressive so far. Do they get the job done against Cumberland's, Jimmy?
I think Campbellsville's front 7 is just going to be too much for Cumberland's today. Give me Campbellsville in this one.
Again, Jimmy, it looks like I'll be tailing you. I got the Tigers again. Their resume so far in 2025 has been very exemplary. I feel like they keep the boat rolling in the right direction today.
I can't agree more with you, boys. Send it over to Cade to try to save it.
Yeah,
Are
you know
we
what?
going to be rolling here with multiple sweeps?
I'm done with this. I'm done with this system we got going over here. I had Campbellsville down, and I did it right up on this Cumberland's team, and now I feel a little personal connection with these boys. They're going to go get the job done today.
Okay.
201 kickoff.
Cumberland.
Thank you. 201 kickoff. That is definitely an interesting one, fellas. Cade saves the graphic there for Cumberland's, I believe the Patriots. And we'll move forward, guys. Our last pick before picking Bethel and St. John's here in Arden Hills, Minnesota. Lindsey Wilson at Georgetown, a big one in the Mid-South. Jimmy, kick us off with your pick, my friend.
Give me Lindsey Wilson on the road here against Georgetown. It's going to be a really good game. But I think at the end of the day, Lindsey Wilson's going to be the better team today.
You know what? Since we had Coach Kleckler on the show, I have really found it hard to pick against this Lindsey Wilson squad. I'm right there with you. This offensive unit, the offensive talent that this Blue Raider team has. I don't know if you guys noticed, Lindsey Wilson College was rebranded to Lindsey Wilson University in the offseason. That has flipped a switch with the boys down there in the Mid-South. They are absolutely humming. I think that continues into conference play against Georgetown.
They are humming, Kobe, for sure. But at the end of the day, I believe in Caleb Carrill. I believe in layering concepts with formation distortion.
Impressed that you remembered that, by the way.
Absolutely. Well, I heard it a million times because I love it as an offensive coach. But, yeah, give me Georgetown to roll here today.
There you go. Cade, close out your pick. Will it be Lindsey Wilson or Georgetown?
Love that pick, partner. I'm taking Georgetown as well, getting the job done at home.
There it is, and a split pick one more time. Gavin, a perfectly split graphic. Lindsey Wilson, Georgetown. Who in the MSC pulls out the W? It's Georgetown. The consensus pick. The Tigers will take home the victory today. And fellas, we've got one more pick to make on Small School Saturday. But first, I think it's important to hear from these teams. Bethel, the Royals, they played St. John's 2 times last year. One of them was like this in the regular season. The other was in the MIAC championship game. This is the game of the year inside of the MIAC, however you pronounce it. I think, though, it's very important that we hear from both of these sides before going and making our picks. Let's check in with the boys of both these great institutions before we come back for the game picks.
We're always the most physical team we play. And it's just fun football. It's my favorite game of the year.
I mean, they're a really talented group. They haven't given up a point all year. So, I mean, that's definitely something that sticks out to us. They got guys all over the field that can make plays.
We can play at a high speed, and we can execute really well and play with a lot of heart, and a lot of care for our brothers. We'll be in a good spot.
I'm very grateful that Bethel is a team that we get to play. It's a big game for us, but I think it's a bigger game for them.
Kind of get a playoff game in the regular season. You kind of circle that one a little bit before. Obviously, you focus week by week.
We've won playoff games here the entire time I've been here. It's always go about your business and know and trust that you're good enough to play it.
The preview and the promo for what will undoubtedly be an incredible game here in Arden Hills as we get closer and closer, boys. A half hour to kickoff as the Bethel Royals play host to the Johnnies from St. John's. We've had both the head coaches on. We've learned so much about these two programs over the course of the week, having the privilege to talk to the student athletes, the guys that make up to these teams, and having the opportunity to tell their stories on Small School Saturday. Jimmy, you start with the momentous occasion of picking either with or against this wonderful showing in Arden Hills, my friend.
So I have a fun fact for you guys. The last 2 teams that hosted Division I rejects had both won. And I think that trend is going to continue today. Give me the Bethel Royals, give me Cooper Drews, give me Coach McElroy. I love the culture that they're building here, that they have built. Bethel.
I played the villain last week, and that was something that actually did come back to bite me in the butt because Duluth pulled off that last-second field goal. And we've talked with both these programs, and it has been like looking in a mirror of each other. It really is. This rivalry, this matchup, there's so much respect on either side. I love the fact that we're here to showcase this. With that being said, when we came here to Bethel, I've seen this St. John's team play. I've seen this defense been absolutely suffocating through 3 weeks. I don't know if Cooper Drews and company have enough. I will be the villain once again. Give me St. John's to come on the road and upset the wonderful people of Arden Hills, Minnesota. This St. John's team is absolutely rolling. I don't know if one of their 2 quarterbacks will take the job and run with it today, but what I do know is both of them will be big-time playmakers. Their offensive backfield is riddled with top talent across the board. Dylan Wheeler, go to the backfield with Caden Wheeler. Joey Gendro, the tight end position. It's like when you cut off a head of like a hydra and 2 more grow in its place. It's an anomaly in all of college football. St. John's offense, the Johnny's offense is too much. The defense is absolutely suffocating. I think they're the villain. They're the upset today.
At the end of the day, there's
not an upset. They are favored in this matchup, correct?
Certainly.
Yes.
Not an upset. Well, there's several St. John's quarterbacks that are going to be on the field today, and the St. John's quarterback that I really like is Cooper Drews, right? I'm really excited for him to, at the end of the day, give me the best quarterback to win the football game today, and he's the best quarterback on the field today. Give me Bethel.
That I can't disagree with.
Yeah, and I'm usually the guy for the dramatics. But I don't have no say in, who wins. I don't have a personal favorite or whatnot. But then I was sitting behind Gav and heard Coach McElroy talk up here, and he made me want to put a helmet, shoulder pads, knee pads, the whole gig back on and go out there and play for this Royals team. Give me Bethel, and I really don't think it's going to be close.
Did you wear knee pads when you played?
I did.
Oh. Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Nerd.
I was first guy in, last guy out type of guy.
Those are the picks for the matchup today. We're less than half an hour away from kickoff here in Arden Hills, Minnesota. This is a look once again as the Skycam shakes in the wind from Royal Stadium. Boys, this stadium is starting to pick up. You can see the people are in full effect here as the Royals get ready to play host to the Johnnies in what is the MIAC game of the year so far in 2025. An excellent turnout, what is sure to be an incredible atmosphere. Once again, cannot thank the incredible group that has put together this production anymore. The incredible hospitality we've had here from the great people at Bethel, fellas. And I will thank you, the viewership, people who have tuned in up in person, and also those who have tuned in online. Thank you so much for tuning in and making us part of your mandatory Saturday viewing here at Small School Saturday. Cade Manzo, Seth Howard, Jimmy Martin. I am Kobe Manzo, your host from Division I Rejects. Thank you so much for joining us, and let's have a great day.